Gabbard. Not big into watching these clowns, but Tulsi Gabbard, that's it. And she's, wanting to be the president of the United States. But, around here, we always pay attention to the symbols, and we have to use or look at that in context too, as well, right? We have to consider the possibilities, because these symbols have become part of all of our our experience, and it's all deeply embedded in our minds. So sometimes it just comes out. People are seeing these similar symbols all around, especially lately. They're manifesting a lot over the last few years. So-called Illuminati type symbols, or symbols of the beast. We see this all over the place. It's on your shoes. It's on your shirts. It's in your entertainment. It's in your head. But sometimes a pyramid's just a pyramid, right? But anyway, this one's a politician, so I'm already not trusting. He's on the left. Definitely don't trust that, especially the new American left here in 2019. It's so crazy how much it's changed. I'm grateful for it, though, because the masks are off. It's kind of the beautiful thing about all this. It's crazy as it is, and they're really making it tough on Trump. Some people think it's all just a show. It's obviously a lot of this stuff is set up, but there's things that are real that happen as well. And I would suggest watching maybe some of Trump's, if you're interested, because he'll tell you straight from his own mouth things that you won't hear from any of the news. That's kind of how I find news on Trump. I'll go watch when he's doing a live event, and I'll watch maybe 20 minutes or so and just listen to what he's saying, and he'll tell you everything that's going on. Again, some people don't trust that. Some people do. I think it's refreshing. And if it's all an act, then kudos to him. He deserves something, some kind of an award. But it looks like, they're really pushing the guy to the edge. And like he said recently in one of his maybe as a town hall, or not a town hall, whatever it is he's doing. He's going out and promoting, I guess, different senators. He's probably also, I guess, pushing for his 2020. So he's out there a lot. He's always doing something. But yeah, just pay attention to what he says. And, if you want to get some news, that's how I find news on Trump. Just hear it from his own mouth. But anyway, this one's, just another one of those rats. I feel she's a beautiful lady. I like a lot of what she says. I've saw the I saw on the TV. I saw on the Democratic debate. I watched a couple of those. Well-spoken, intelligent lady, blah blah blah, etc., etc. But here's the signs and the symbols. I don't know. What do you make of it? Maybe there's more down here. Feels like there was something else. And yeah, again, here's an example of how you see it everywhere, right? It's just manifesting all over the place. And here's this. They're saying this is a Hawaiian thing. Context matters. This isn't an Illuminati hand gesture. You can look up what it is. It's used as a symbol of solidarity for a land protection movement by indigenous Hawaiians. This is not an endorsement of Tulsi Gabbard. And see, even stuff like this is where we know context does matter, and we go back to the original meaning of all these kinds of things. We go back to the original meaning of these symbols. And we know the pyramid's our enemy. It's even on the dollar. It's on your money. They told us our plans are their plans. They told us their plans for the New World Order, and they put it on our money. And they put it on paper, and they called it money. But they're telling us this is part of the spell. It's part of the lesser magic. So, that's where this stuff originates. And then again, we do take it in context, but you can't just start some movement over the last few years or 10 years and start making that hand sign and say, no, this is actually what it means. Yeah, it's nothing to see here, guys. It's okay. See if there's anything else in here. There's all the Trump stuff. I'm always seeing people talking about the Trump signs too. He does do that okay constantly. Always has his hands in that position as well. And, you know, who knows, man? I mean, there's so much stuff we don't know. What if he's some kind of a high-level freaking sorcerer or something? You know, I don't know. I mean, I doubt it, you know, but who knows? Again, I doubt it, but we don't know what's happening behind closed doors, do we? Anyway, so we follow the signs and symbols sometimes, and they help. Angry Swedish citizens report Greta Thunberg's parents to child services for child abuse. All right, good news. Finally, some good news out of Sweden. I feel like every week we have the weirdest stories coming out of Sweden. Some scary stuff. You guys know. Well, you know, those of you who've been here. So we've seen some weird stuff from the Swedes, but it looks like this is good news. Let's see what's happening. While she appears to be missing in action as of late, Angry Climate Child, I like that, the Angry Climate Child. That'd be a cool name for a punk band. Angry Climate Child. And introducing Angry Climate Child, you know. Greta Thunberg of United Nations ranting fame isn't off the hook when it comes to her questionable climate shenanigans. According to reports, Greta's parents aren't the subject of a new inquiry into their fitness as parents, or are the subject, as it would seem that they've been abusing their daughter for political and financial gain. A report was recently filed in the Kungsholmen district of Stockholm, claiming that Greta's parents are exploiting her in order to push the climate agenda, which is causing young Greta to suffer serious mental anguish and emotional distress. I mean, just judging by the way that girl's face looks most of the time, I mean, that's so true. Seriously. I'm not trying to be mean about the child, but I mean, every picture I've seen of her, or even moments where she's speaking, she seriously looks like she's got to like drop a major deuce, but it's one of those that you know is not coming out for a while, and it's going to take some work. It's just in there, and it's stretching you, you know, on the inside. I feel like she's got one of those in her all the time. So when large parts of the adult world and established media participate in the mass psychosis around Greta Thunberg, who obviously doesn't feel so good, it's like having to pinch one's arm, stated Swedish party chairman for social conservatives and lifestyle liberals about this bizarre situation. Is this true? The same individual, who is also a lawyer, further asked in a tweet, "What are you doing? This is not healthy." All right. Anyway, this sounds starting to get a little goofy, but you know what? That's okay. It's a good thing that the Swedish people are stepping it up and turning in Greta's parents to the services. I don't know if anything would happen. I mean, this is a kid that's supported by the United Nations, so she's got that going for her. This right here is pretty crazy. I mean, the title says it all, basically. I'll just say, dude has enough of climate change, and watch what he does. Here.
There you go. He's yelling.
I seriously want to go down and yell.
I'm surprised. That was very anticlimactic. Damn it.
Should we call the police on them, all honesty, at this point? Yeah, I think we should. No. I'd say don't get involved. Don't get involved. Well, please, I'm the king of getting involved. I will say, though, the one in, like, the second one for me, and over there, the one with the punk haircut.
Yeah.
It's really cute.
She needs a new brain.
This is what's going out there. She's yelling at him. Hold up, she's videoing. Where's she going? Isn't that her car? She's Uber. Oh, it was an Uber. Oh! He took it. One guy took their side.
Sorry.
Oh, wow! He took her phone.
Oh!
I mean, she kind of set herself up for that.
Doing it again?
Yeah, someone attacked them. He grabbed the poster, threw it over, then destroyed one girl's phone. Yeah.
That was brilliant.
She's freaking out. She's throwing a little hissy fit because someone took her phone and threw it. It's like, come on, what do you expect?
That was fucking amazing. Dude, that guy's my hero. Dude, I'll show you the video, dude.
You got that on video? Like a
Like,
driver?
looks.
What's wrong with you people? Run into your convenience, others look behind you.
Take it out.
You gotta go to work. Get the fuck out the way. Get the fuck out the way. Go. Get the fuck out of here. You get the
It pretty much ends right there, but wow, right? I certainly felt like that a few times. Maybe I've acted out some myself. I mean, what would you do if you were on the way to work and you're getting all backed up for God knows how long by a bunch of people who are, I mean, I guess it could be anything, but in this case, they're pushing the whole climate hoax deal. There's some news on that tonight as well. And that goes back to the Greta thing as well. They're using Greta to scare people into their agenda, essentially 2030, Agenda 2030. But would you do that? I mean, I'm trying to think of a time where I wasn't ever in that situation. I used to live in Los Angeles, and the traffic is a nightmare. So you're always kind of stuck. But that's another story altogether. I would see people just screaming in their cars sometimes, though, like at the top of their lungs. I couldn't hear it, but you'd see them just, by themselves. I saw that a few times. PA, Pennsylvania, boy found with sister near death in basement, was bullied, didn't want to go alone. This one's really rough, but I always feel the need to kind of show these when it involves children doing this kind of stuff. That's what freaks me out, is when the kids start doing this stuff. But check this out. Newly released audio exchanged between dispatchers and first responders in Albany Township, Pennsylvania, possibly sheds light onto the deaths of two young siblings found last month by their mother hanging from a basement support beam next to chairs that had been tipped over. In audio obtained by the morning call of Allentown, dispatchers alert police to a 911 call from the mother of 8-year-old Connor Snyder and Brinley Snyder, 4. The dispatcher informs the officers of the situation, saying that the mother, identified as Lisa Snyder, told them Connor was bullied at school and had made threats of doing this before. Can you imagine an 8-year-old making threats of taking their own life? This is where we're at right now as a society and as a world, and it's a reflection of how people treat each other. What do you think about that? Obviously, the system is also pushing the victim narrative. Wants us all to be victims. That's another part of it as well. It doesn't help. But there are still real bullies out there and really mean people doing really wicked things and hurting the sensitives. It's always the sensitives that suffer. It's truly the good people, the good-hearted people, the sweet-hearted ones. The sensitives. That's the way I call them, the sensitives. Not in a bad way, in a good way. I'm a sensitive. And I don't mean that I cry every time I see a Hallmark commercial or something. I mean, I'm a feeler. I feel and I process, and I have to think and watch and observe. And so I understand that. Sometimes those are the kids that are considered the weird ones. They don't fit in, But I was able to fit in. I really fit in with all the groups. I played sports in high school and also smoked a lot of weed, so I hung out with those people. Did a lot of drugs in high school. Hung out with drug people as well. And the punk rock kind of crew was my scene. I guess we all... we were wearing combat boots and trench coats to school way before that was, that event, and way before that was considered something creepy. It's like that was just kind of a look. And Navy pea coats. I had a Navy pea coat in high school. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Anyway, I'm rambling, and I know some of you are like yelling, like, "Shut up, KJ! Back to the news. We need to know what really matters." But sometimes I like to take you on just a little journey with me. Okay. Back to the news, though. So as the audio continues, the dispatcher relays to responding officers that Connor had specified in his threats that he, quote, didn't want to go alone. Both deaths remain under investigation. Snyder refused to comment on the audio when reached by the morning call. The paper reports that after her children passed, 3 days after they were airlifted to a nearby hospital, she updated her Facebook profile with a photo and the saying, "Words scar, rumors destroy, bullies kill." Both children were found unconscious by their mother, hanging from opposite ends of a wire dog lead with plastic coating on the afternoon of September 23rd. According to police, the children's mother returned to their home around 4:30, finding 2 dining room chairs tipped over on the floor near her children's bodies. The children were unconscious and in cardiac arrest when they were found, but medics revived them en route to the hospital. However, on September 26th, both children were removed from life support, dying within 14 minutes of each other. Wow. The mother, along with the mother, there was a teenage boy that survived as well. Looks like that she still has, at least. But wow, that's just, I can't even imagine the grief, you know. But then again, back to the kids, an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. The 8-year-old convinced the 4-year-old because he didn't want to go alone. I mean, that's just, I don't know. How do you wrap your mind around some of this stuff? I can remember back when I was real little. I have some clear memories of being little. 8, 7, some of those ages. I was such a happy kid. I remember being a really happy kid, you know, and full of energy. I mean, I was so full of energy that people didn't like babysitting me. I just wouldn't shut up. And I was always running around and doing something, you know, but that was a long time ago. You know, that was 20 years ago. Right? 15 years ago. I was 8 years old. So much more innocent back then, you know, but I just can't imagine being again, I guess that's a reflection of where we're at, you know. We see a lot of stories, unfortunately, but we do see them here on the show from time to time about the little ones getting involved in some really heavy stuff like this. Schools are allowing mental health days for students, and this is how kids should use them. I mean, after that last story, you know, I mean, it might be easy to mock some of this kind of stuff, but again, I know that, you know, I'm Generation X, and we'd be like, you know, toughen up, you know, pull up your Pampers, you know, whatever. This is a different generation, though, and they've been hit with a lot of mind control. They've been hit with a lot of chemicals in their air, chemicals in their food, in their water. And, you know, it's unfortunate. You know, the system is really doing its best to weaken us, right? To weaken people on every level, you know, psychologically, physically, spiritually. So we got to be fighters, don't we? We got to be aware and awake and understand what's happening. And I believe most importantly, you need to have Christ. You need to have a relationship with God, you know, our Heavenly Father, the Lord God. You know, that's what it takes these days, man. And it's still tough. Even having that relationship, it's still tough. I think it's easier. You have a bit more peace. At least I do. But it's still tough. In fact, sometimes it might even be tougher, because that's when you really start getting attacked by the enemy. That's when you get into the real spiritual warfare. And, you know, it gets deep. Some of you are with this. You understand what I mean. You can see some of this stuff manifest in people around you in certain ways. And, you know, these are people who I think are being used. And, you know, we've all been used at times throughout our lives, I'm sure, without realizing it. You know, if we weren't maybe not with God or not. I mean, what do you think about that? If somebody has the Holy Spirit, if somebody's a Christian, if somebody's been saved, do you think that they can still get a demonic entity attached to them? What are your thoughts on that? I've got my own, but I'd rather hear yours for now. I'm really interested. What do you guys think about that? And, you know, I'm sure maybe there's something biblical, you know, that you can add in there as well, if there's some scripture on that, but I'd be interested to see your thoughts on that. Like, how does that work, right? In July, the state of Oregon passed a law giving students up to 5 mental health days in a 3-month period, inspired by students in Park, you know what, LAND, Florida. Oregon students who spearheaded the campaign wanted to ensure their peers had a way to address mental health in school. One student, Derek Evans, explained the necessity of mental health days at Fox 12, Oregon. Quote, dealing with anxiety throughout high school has always left me tired, exhausted up against some weeks, and the difference one day makes is honestly life-changing. Again, I'm with you guys where I never felt I needed a mental health day, but then again, I ditched a lot. So, I didn't show up all the time, and that's probably why I got in a lot of trouble and actually had to go back and finish high school a year later than the rest of my peers. So I was a real piece of work back then. But one thing I didn't like was school. That's for sure. I really didn't like school. But look at me now, I guess. Or not. In July, the state of Oregon, we got that. In 2018, Utah schools broadened the definition of, quote, excused absence to include illnesses, which may be mental or physical. Advocates say the change in policy will help reduce the stigma surrounding mental health and empower students to be more open in discussing their struggles. When you're able to call up and say, I'm having a panic attack and can't come to school today, instead of having to make up a cold, that really begins to normalize the fact that mental health conditions are the same as physical health conditions, and we shouldn't be ashamed of them, some doctors said. Kids from elementary school to high school are faced with pressures their parents could only try to imagine. From school bang-bangs to rampant bullying, both in real life and online. That's true too, man. The online stuff, that's a whole other new reality that people in my generation didn't have to deal with in high school. It was right after that. It was kind of right after high school is when it all really started kicking in. Internet, computers, home PCs, and now, and now look at us. Right? So that's real. That's absolutely real. That's a whole other scary situation. Do you remember that news story from a few months ago, maybe longer? But it was this year. It was a young girl, blonde girl. I think she's like 16 or 17. But she talked her boyfriend into taking his own life. Did you ever remember that one? And they showed the texts and the way she was doing it and talking to him and stuff. And wow, scary crap, man. Scary crap. The kid had some real issues, and she could have helped. And he needed help. He needed to talk to somebody. But his own girlfriend is sitting here, like, it's totally talking him into just like, hey, this is your right. There's really no other way out. You should do this. It's like, wow. I know that's a bit random, but it just kind of popped in my head there. Kids from elementary school to high school are faced with pressures their parents. So we got that. Young people can benefit from. Do we do this one already? No. Young people can benefit from having a break from social pressures by reconnecting and spending quality time with family. This can help lessen anxiety and depression, explains a licensed marriage and family therapist. Often we allow our children to take time off when they have a cold or are under the weather. However, we don't do the same for mental health. Issues of mental health are not often seen to the naked eye, so they are often dismissed. What about you parents out there? I know some of y'all are parents. Maybe you got kids that are dealing with some of this. How serious is this bullying thing for the kids? I know it's happening. Obviously, I see the stories every week, but just real life examples. I mean, did y'all have any of your own situations where you had to deal with some little monster at your kid's school? I'm sure some of you had to. All right, we got it. Man, this one's pretty crazy. You're not hearing much about this either. This whole PG&E fire preventing power shutoffs in Northern California may continue for 10 years. The CEO says, remember this? They turned the power off because of the fires. They want to prevent fires or whatever. And now they're saying that they could be, looking up to 10 years. Let's read some. Power outages to prevent fires in Northern California may continue for a decade, the state's biggest utility said Friday. PG&E Chief Executive Bill Johnson said it could take 10 years for the utility to improve its system enough to significantly reduce the need to cut electricity during fire weather. Johnson made the announcement during a California Public Utilities Commission meeting Friday. In a statement issued later, he tried to provide additional clarification. I didn't mean to say we'd be doing it on this scale for 10 years. I think they'll decrease in size and scope every year, he said. Any of PG&E's 5 million electric customers can be affected by the practice known as public safety power shutoff. which cuts electricity to avoid causing fires during high winds and dry conditions. California Public Utilities Commission said it held the emergency meeting specifically to hear from PG&E's executives regarding the mistakes and operational gaps identified in the utility's latest PSPS events and to provide lessons learned to ensure they are not repeated. Well, earlier this month, PG&E shut off power to almost 800,000 customers in Northern California to lower the risk of wildfires started by the company's equipment. And the outage racked up a bill of at least $500,000 for the city of San Jose and disrupted schools and businesses. Whoa, there you go. Any of you live in this area? Anybody listening out there? Are you dealing with this right now? This is just more of this. We see a lot of this happening. It's everywhere. Now it's Kellogg's. Kellogg's launches LGBT cereal. This is from Newsbusters. Have you ever eaten Fruit Loops and thought this cereal isn't gay enough? Do you seek a safe space to eat your Rice Krispies? Are you concerned that your cornflakes aren't sufficiently woke? Well, now Kellogg's has the solution. On Thursday, the gay site Pink News reported Kellogg's is launching an LGBT-themed cereal so you can start your day with maximum gay. If you're a fan of breakfast and being gay, we have great news for you. Kellogg's is launching an LGBT-themed cereal. Get excited, guys. This is good news. And to think we've been eating straight cisgender cereal all this time. Time to coincide with GLAAD's Spirit Day. I wonder what Spirit Day was like. Did you guys? I'm going to have to look up Spirit Day on October 17th and see what that was. To coincide with GLAAD's Spirit Day on October 17th, they teamed up to produce the All Together cereal, which Kellogg says is the first to offer cornflakes, Fruit Loops, Frosted Flakes, Frosted Mini Wheats, Raisin Bran, and Rice Krispies, hold on, exclusively together. Unlike the mix of cereal, the image on the box implies it's actually a limited edition variety pack with 6 individual sized boxes inside, but consumers are free to create any combination they like. Now we're getting into stuff I don't care about. Anyway, there we go. More of that on Spirit Day. Spirit Day. Also on October 17th, same day as Spirit Day, this story came out. The rise of young black conservatives. You know, I love stories like this. I'm not going to hide it. You know, I mean, I'm obviously more of a traditional kind of person. I definitely go way more conservative, maybe libertarian, I guess, because I do have a lot of views that are a bit different. So I'm not a Republican and not into the political stuff, but I am a veteran. I served for 8 years, so I just lean more to the right. But I've always hated the way the system treated black conservatives. I mean, there's not many of them, and when they come out and say something, the media always paints them as an Uncle Tom, a sellout or whatever. But, what are they supposed to support? That's what's annoying. What does the system want the black people to support? Young black or all black conservatives, that want to choose that. Well, if you're not supposed to be choosing that, right? If that's going to make you an Uncle Tom, they want you to be on their side. But what do they want? What is the left in America in 2019? What is it they actually want? Are they standing for anything good at all? It all seems like bad news to me, So it's now at this point too, it's beyond being left or Democrat. I mean, it's full on. We're getting into Marxism, socialism is what they like to call it, but it's communism. We see it. That's what's happening, right? So that's your choice. Black people that don't believe the mainstream, that aren't on board with the legacy media, the mainstream, deep state media. What are you supposed to do? Anyway, so it's good to see a movement taking place here. This past weekend, this is an editorial, so I'll be reading. It's from frontpage.com. Past weekend, I spoke for the second time at the second annual Black Leadership Summit in Washington, D.C., hosted by Turning Point USA. Turning Point was founded in 2012 by then 18-year-old Charlie Kirk. Oh, I will say, too, though, don't get me wrong. I mean, there was a point some years ago where there was a lot of bad people on the Republican side that didn't like black people. But we also got to look back in the history of the Democratic Party, even back to Hitler, R, to his party. They're mucky and dirty on both sides, right? They really are. So anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. I don't know why. So I don't really feel like reading this whole guy's experience, but I guess the main point is I already made. I like this. I think this is a good thing. I'd like to see more of it. Because if I have to choose some kind of a political movement or whatever, obviously I'm going to go with more of something conservative. And I like to see that there's a bit of a movement. I mean, the pendulum swinging, back and forth. And that's why most of us are well aware of that false left-right paradigm, and we don't fall into it. But that doesn't mean that, I can't still support elements of this, things that I think are good. The good news, good things. Oh, Larry Elder wrote this. Okay, so there you go. That's cool. He's a black conservative man, Larry Elder. I believe he used to have a TV show. I think he's a judge or something. But anyway, I'm rambling. I know. KJ, get back to the news, man. Shut up. Tell us what's going on in the world. They screamed. This one's, this is Norway. We get a lot of weird news out of Norway too, don't we? You remember the Norway spiral when Obama got his Nobel Peace Prize? They had the Norway spiral. RAPE victim feels guilty that Somali migrant who bopped him was deported. This is kind of insane. I'm going to take a quick drink here real quick. 1 second, please. Thanks again for being here, by the way. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're hanging tough out there. Hope you had a good week. Well, there's only been one day, but still. How about maybe last week? I hope last week was good for you. A Norwegian man who was bopped by a Somali migrant has said that he feels guilty because the foreign sexual predator was deported back to his home country. The bop victim, Karsten Nordal Håken, who identifies as an anti-racist and feminist, well, there you go. He's another one of these beta males or beta cucks, right? Unfortunately. I know I'm just throwing that on him just because of these two things that he believes in, but I just got that feeling. Who identifies as an anti-racist and feminist was sexually assaulted 5 years ago. Although the attack resulted in him sinking into depression and substance abuse, he said that he felt guilty about his sexual abuser being deported back to Somalia after serving a jail sentence in Norway. In a piece written for the Norwegian broadcaster NRK, Håken outlines his experience of the sexual assault and how it affected his life. During the piece, Håken recounts how he felt when he heard that his attacker would be deported from the country. He describes how he was a bit taken by surprise. The tears, they came the moment I sat in the car, he said. I felt relief and joy that he was going away forever. I felt that the Norwegian government took on the responsibility to exercise the ultimate revenge like an angry father confronts a child abuser. Okay. Oh, it's daddy government. Oh, yeah. I don't know this guy, but I'm pretty sure he's a beta cuck. I felt that the Norwegian government took on the responsibility to exercise the ultimate revenge like an angry father confronts a child abuser. Daddy government. But I also got a strong sense of guilt and responsibility. I was the reason why he should not be left in Norway, but rather to face a very uncertain future in Somalia. He had already served his sentence in prison. Should he now be punished again, and this time much harder? I'm afraid that no girls will want me, and that other men will laugh at me, afraid that I'll be perceived as anti-feminist when I say that young men who are struggling should get more attention, Håken said. Håken's story and personal orientation toward his attacker highlights a kind of pathological altruism and inability to take one's own side that has become endemic in much of Western society today. True. Despite having been bopped, and having his life ruined by a foreign criminal who should have never been living in his country in the first place, How can Steele feels an odd and pathological kind of sympathy for his attacker? What else is that called? It's a syndrome. Something syndrome. Not Munchausen by proxy. Not that. There's a syndrome. What is it? Gosh, man, you know it. There's a term for when you kind of get attached to the person who's holding you captive, right? John Wayne no longer a star at his alma mater as students denounce his legacy of endorsing white supremacy. John Wayne has been a hero at the University of Southern California for decades, but some students at the private Los Angeles school, the late movie star's alma mater, now view him as a villain. A group of USC students are demanding the removal of a longtime Wayne memorabilia exhibit at the university's acclaimed film school. The reason the activists give is the actor's legacy of endorsing white supremacy and the removal of indigenous people. This harsh interpretation of the iconic star chiefly comes from a 1971 interview that Wayne gave to Playboy magazine. Quotes from the article, some of them chopped up out of their context, made the rounds on social media earlier this year, prompting articles in the Washington Post and other news outlets. News. Since the reemergence of the Playboy interview, I have felt viscerally uncomfortable with the exhibit because of the promotion and glorification of a noted white supremacist and racist, film student Rihanna Cruz told the Daily Trojan. Wayne, 63 years old in 1971 and a dedicated anti-communist who backed the Vietnam War, expressed views that were relatively common at the time when the U.S. was in the midst of unprecedented cultural upheaval. He dismissed student anti-war protesters as naive, saying that they were engaging in kind of dissension by rote, and he railed against the critically lauded counterculture movies of the era like Easy Rider and Midnight Cowboy, calling them perverted films. This mostly comes across today as a little more than cranky, get off my lawn type talk. But Wayne also expressed skepticism of Black power advocates and African American political leaders of the time, leading to the recent claims that he's that word again. With a lot of Blacks, there's quite a bit of resentment along with their dissent, and possibly rightfully so, Wayne said when asked about Black militants. But we can't all of a sudden get down on our knees and turn everything over to the leadership of Black people. I believe in white supremacy until the Blacks are educated to a point of responsibility. Oof, wow, I never heard that before. I can see how they would take that one and run with it. I don't believe in giving authority and positions of leadership and judgment to irresponsible people. Again, though, right? It's a different time. I mean, I don't want to make... All I'm saying is they definitely got some ammo right there. I mean, well, they're using it, today, 2019, which looks really rough. The actor who had starred in dozens of Westerns, including classics such as Stagecoach and The Searchers, also embraced the version of American history that was commonly taught in school when he was growing up, namely that the winning of the West by white settlers in the 19th century, heralded as the U.S. manifest destiny, was morally just and necessary. He said, I don't feel we did wrong in taking this great country away from Native Americans, if that's what you're asking. Wayne said at one point in the wide-ranging interview, our so-called stealing of this country from them was just a matter of survival. There were great numbers of people who needed new land, and the Indians were selfishly trying to keep it for themselves. When pressed on this attitude, he added, if those inequalities are presently affecting any of the Indians now alive, they have a right to a court hearing. John Wayne has been a Hollywood legend for more than half a century. That's going to get into some boring stuff. Okay, we got it. There we go. What do you think about all that? It's just it really is like a cancel culture. They want to take everything down that they disagree with, even though it might be a bit shocking, a bit off-putting. They're trying, and we see this, I've talked about this all the time. It's in all kinds of dystopian novels and movies. That's a big part of essentially a New World Order. We're told the same story over and over and over again. But that's always part of a lot of these stories, is they have to erase their history. That was a motorcycle. Did you hear that? It was really loud. They have to erase history, right? To create everything new. It's a massive form of mind control as well. This is pretty wild. Nearly 13-foot, 1,100-pound great white shark was bitten by an even larger shark, researchers say. A 12-foot, 9-inch great white shark dubbed Vimy, which was captured off the northeastern coast of the U.S., had 2 big bite marks on his head and body made by an even larger shark, researchers say. The massive creature, which weighs approximately 1,100 pounds, was caught and tagged on October 4th by a team of scientists with O-Search. White sharks live in a tough world, the group wrote on Facebook. Need proof? Check out white shark Vimy's head. He appears to have 2 big bite marks from what we suspect are encounters with other sharks. You can see one is pretty well healed, but the other is still fresh. Wow. Ooh, wow. That is rough, huh? That's a big shark. Just imagine the size of whatever chomped on his head. Hate the president? Buy our pants. Sportswear brand tries to cash in on an ad showing Trump all tied up. Not only do they fit snug and look great, yoga pants are apparently now the latest front in the U.S. culture war. One enterprising firm is selling its pants with a picture depicting a feminist hog-tying President Donald Trump. The image, entitled Lady Liberty and reportedly erected over New York's Times Square, shows model and Marine Corps veteran Michael Misa screaming into the face of a Trump likeness while tying POTUS up with a red, white, and blue rope. This stuff's just so annoying. I see stuff like this. Jezebel spirit. That's why it's annoying. Not because it's Trump as much. I really don't care as much about that. I'm not into idols, but it's the spirit I see. It's that Jezebel spirit. And Mother Goddess, the Mother Goddess worship as well. But it's a spirit. Now, there's the picture. It was in New York. Look at that. Right downtown. Times Square. Here's just a short bit. I don't know what your feelings are on this one. This Meghan Markle. We know that the Queen and everything connected to the royalty and all that, we understand. Some of us understand a lot of the occult connections there. Secret societies, obviously, not to be trusted. There's such a laundry list of stories. I mean, Prince Charles related to Vlad the Impaler, all the bodies and bones they found on some of the Queen's estates. I mean, stuff like that, man. I mean, this is all real. It's creepy and crazy. So I'm sure a lot of the stories are just made up about the royals, but then some of that stuff's real, man. And again, we see the symbols and we know what that's attached to. So this girl, I don't know much about her. I knew she was an actress in America. Obviously, a very, very pretty lady. Seems very sweet. I don't follow other royals. I'm not really that much into this kind of stuff unless there's some symbols to be seen or something. But she seems really, sweet and emotional here. Again, I don't know. She's an actress. It all could be an act. But I wonder, again, I don't know what's going on behind the closed doors at the palace. But I just wonder what happens. Like Princess Diana was trying to get away from him, right? She got in, good gal. And I believe she got with Dodi Fayed and started trying to pull away from all that stuff. And then they took her out, and I wonder if this could eventually be a similar scenario. Maybe they're going to replay the whole thing, in some sense, mirror that whole situation for these people. Perhaps it's some kind of a weird ritual. I don't know. But I'm just saying all this and just throwing things out there because I saw this clip and I just started wondering all of this. And I wondered about this lady. What was her like? What's her life like? I know she just had a kid, but didn't she just have a baby? I'm pretty sure, or she's having one. I don't know. Again, I don't know much about these people, but I don't know. I'm going to play this. You can watch it yourself. I just wonder though, could this be a good person? Maybe she got in with the bad crowd. Now she's starting to learn things that are going on, and maybe her whole world's being turned upside down. all the while she just had a baby with this guy, right? What's that got to be like? Realizing that you're involved in one of the biggest, most influential satanic families on the planet. What does that got to be like? I hate to laugh. I wonder. Anyway, I'm probably just rambling again. I know you guys are yelling right now at your computer. KJ, shut your mouth. Get to the news. Come on, stick to business. All right, guys, I'm gonna try. Let me make this a little bigger, and we'll just watch this one.
From what he felt his mother went through. It's obviously an area one has to tiptoe into very gently, but I don't know what the impact on your physical and mental health of all the pressure that you clearly feel on.
I would say, look, any woman especially when they're pregnant, you're really vulnerable, and so that was made really challenging. And then when you have a newborn,
It's a long time ago, but I remember. Yeah.
And especially as a woman, it's a lot. So you add this on top of just trying to be a new mom or trying to be a newlywed. It's well, I guess, and also thank you for asking, because not many people have asked if I'm okay, but it's a very real thing to be going through behind the scenes.
And the answer is, would it be fair to say not really okay? It's really been a struggle.
Yes.
I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I remember when I first watched the clip and I was reading some of the comments, and a lot of people were just calling her out again. She's an actress, shut your mouth, or whatever. And of course, there's going to be people who hate on her. I mean, she's pretty, talented, and the world thinks this is a big deal, being married to a prince and all this, being a princess, and et cetera, et cetera. But us, maybe not all of us, but most of us over here on this side, we really don't care because we see through this and we understand what this stuff is. But is this a case of a decent human that's involved with these creepers, this creepy family? And now she's, slowly learning more and more about perhaps what's really going on, the bad stuff. Hey, we're just speculating here, throwing things out. Again, I'm not, I didn't do any investigating here. I'm not making a video out of it. Just tossing things out there. You think she's just doing it for sympathy? You really think she needs that? I don't know. It seems like just looking in her eyes and the way she talks, and I'm just that, you try to feel people even through a screen. It's not easy, but you just watch for everything. It's what I do. And I just feel like that looks like a person that really needs a hug. And hey, maybe I got duped by a pretty face and a good actress. I don't know, but it just feels like somebody really on the verge. Maybe it is the baby stuff and everything she's mentioning. That is a lot to take on, but I don't know. I'm rambling again. I'm sorry. I know you guys, man, shut up. Oh, here we go. Here's some of the. See, this is the kind of press she gets. You guys see this? Meghan Markle, cheap, vulgar, and irresponsible. Duchess of Sussex is crowned Britain's top social climber. Duchess difficult to me gain, the nicknames Meghan Markle has reportedly had. Duchess of Sussex is a show-off and narcissist. Meghan Markle nicknamed the degree wife. Surprising connection Meghan Markle shares with Harvey Weinstein. She's regarded as difficult and demanding by family and staff. I mean, again, this can't be fun, for anybody. I'm not in the public realm like that. I'm not, you guys don't even know what I look like, but just the amount of hate, and shaming I've got over the last month or so, having ads and sponsorships. And I mean, I'm a bit of a sensitive of some of this stuff too, but I mean, I can only imagine what it'd be like on a global scale like this to be getting slammed, in public like that. Again, I'm not comparing myself to Meghan Markle or her situation. I'm just trying to relate to her, relate what that's got to feel like, I guess. But any one of us, that's just a YouTube thing. We know that there's a whole very toxic environment anyway in this world. And, it's reflected through YouTube, of course. We see this. We all deal with it. Anybody with a channel deals with that nastiness. 95% of baby foods tested contain lead, arsenic, or other toxic metal. Thought that'd be a video. I guess not. Toxic heavy metals damaging to your baby's brain development are likely in the baby food you're feeding your infant, according to a new investigation published Thursday. Tests of 168 baby foods from major manufacturers in the U.S. found 95% contained lead, 73% contained arsenic, 75% contained cadmium, and 32% contained mercury. 1/4 of the foods contained all 4 heavy metals. Wow, 1 in 5 baby foods tested had over 10 times the 1 ppb limit of lead endorsed by public health advocates, although experts agree that no level of lead is safe. The results mimicked a previous study by the FDA, Food and Drug Organization, that found 1 or more of the same metals in 33 of 39 types of baby food tested. Dang. Foods with the highest risk of neurotoxic harm were rice-based products, sweet potatoes, and fruit juices, the analysis found. Even in the trace amounts found in food, these contaminants can alter the developing brain and erode a child's IQ. The impacts add up with each meal or snack a baby eats, the report said. The tests were commissioned by Healthy Babies Bright Futures, which calls itself an alliance of scientists, nonprofit organizations, and donors trying to reduce exposures to neurotoxic chemicals during the first months of life. Infant rice cereal, rice dishes, and rice-based snacks topped the list of most toxic foods for babies. These popular baby foods are not only high in inorganic arsenic, the most toxic form of arsenic, but also are nearly always contaminated with all 4 toxic metals. Sheesh. Prior research has shown that even low levels of arsenic exposure can impact a baby's neurodevelopment. A 2004 study looked at children in Bangladesh who were exposed to arsenic in drinking water, and it found that they scored significantly lower on intellectual tests. A meta-analysis of studies on the topic found that a 50% increase in arsenic levels in urine would be associated with a 0.4-point decrease in the IQ of children between the ages of 5 and 15. Excuse me. Tonight I'm drinking this baby fruit juice I just picked up at the grocery store. Arsenic is a natural element found in soil, water, and air, with the inorganic form being the most toxic. Because rice is grown in water, it is especially good at absorbing inorganic arsenic and, according to the FDA, has the highest concentration of any food. And in this case, brown and wild rice are the worst offenders because the milling process used to create white rice removes the outer layers, where much of the arsenic concentrates. And you can't rely on organic either. A 2012 study found that brown rice syrup, a frequent sweetener in organic foods, was also a source of significant levels of arsenic. One organic milk formula marketed to toddlers had levels of inorganic arsenic that were 6 times the levels currently considered safe by the U.S. EPA. In the Healthy Babies analysis, 4 of 7 rice cereals contained the most toxic form of arsenic and levels higher than the FDA's proposed action level of 100 parts per billion. Man, how about that, huh? That's a CBS Boston story. 95% of baby foods tested contain lead, arsenic, or other toxic metal. What was that? I thought this was pretty interesting. Did you guys see Wonder Woman? The movie Wonder Woman? Anybody? I did. I liked it. I thought it was good. It's good, goofy popcorn entertainment on the surface, of course, but we know that. I think I mentioned some of the symbols and things in there. I know I did in some video somewhere. I had to have, because there was a few things that happened in there. It was interesting. One point, a church is destroyed around her, and she comes walking out of the rubble, and I don't know, there's just a lot of interesting little things. But we're going to see that. Well, plus she has the star of Ishtar That's her symbol, Wonder Woman. So that goes back to Mother Goddess worship, Babylonian religions, all that stuff. It's interesting. Lots of occult symbolism all around her story too, her origin story. So Wonder Woman. But, most of these actors and actresses are just cogs in the machine, and they we know some of them do sell out and make their own deals, but do they all sell out? I don't think they all sell out. It annoys me sometimes, just kind of being in this community. I see it in comments, but people give the devil way too much credit. It's always, I just feel like people is always giving the devil way too much credit and not thinking, don't you think that God would have some of his people in a place like Hollywood where they're needed the most? Of course he does. He's got people everywhere. But then you got some people just, everyone in Hollywood sold out. It's completely evil. They're all going to go to hell. Again, it's that black and white thinking, right? It's that black and white thinking. It's annoying. I get annoyed. By this stuff. But I don't get annoyed by Gal Gadot, at least with this story. How about that segue? I just made that up. Because I think she's doing a pretty cool thing. Gal Gadot to produce, star in film about Christian who saved 2,500 Jewish children from the bad guys. Our Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, has just announced her first role slated under her newly birthed production company about a Christian woman who saves the lives of 2,500 Jewish children during World War II. Gal Gadot just announced her first role for the production company that she and her husband are starting, and it's about a Christian woman who saves these people. Fox News reported that Gadot, who's started a new production company with her husband, will be playing Irene Sendler, a Polish nurse who ran an underground operation smuggling thousands of children out of the Warsaw Ghetto during the Holocaust. Gadot made the announcement via Deadline and then posted about it on her Twitter account. She and her husband told Deadline, as producers, we want to help bring stories that have inspired us to life. Pilot Wave will create content that promotes the perspectives and experiences of unique people and produce impactful stories aimed at igniting the imagination. Okay. Anyway, I think that's a cool thing. I'd watch that. Based on a true story. Sure. Why not? Some of you are out there like, it's not true. It never happened. I know. Okay, this one's pretty wild. I think it might be a news story. Let's see.
Overland Park police arrested.
Yeah, let's check this out.
The 12-year-old on September 18th for apparently making a gun symbol out of her fingers and gesturing at other students. We reached out to the spokesperson for Shawnee Mission School District, David Smith, about the school's policies. He wouldn't agree to an interview and only said this in email. I want to be very clear. The arrest of this student was wholly unrelated to any district policy. It was a municipal police department decision, and our policies don't impact police department decisions. We also reached out to the Overland Park Police Department, but we're told no one with the department could speak on the matter. In Overland Park, I'm investigator Jessica McMaster, 41 Action News.
Crazy. You guys probably saw that story. This is a big story, but just bonkers. Again, it's that, the victim society, overly sensitive, overly reactionary on everything. It's annoying, isn't it? This guy says, I like killing people. Man accused of killing 3 allegedly said he wants to be a serial killer. Well, let's learn more. Oh, never mind. It's one of those where it's just like music. So, guess we're going to have to go old school, guys, and read this article. I like killing people, the guy says. Man accused of killing, we got it. A man accused of slaying 3 people across 2 states allegedly told a victim who survived he wanted to be a serial killer. I like killing people. It's like the 5th time I've had to say, I like killing people. Stanley Mossberg allegedly told the victim, according to authorities. Mossberg, 35, was arrested Tuesday and charged with killing 2 people in Winter Haven, Florida, and 1 person in Greenville, Tennessee. He allegedly told a surviving victim that the 2 victims in Winter Haven were numbers 7 and 8, but his goal was to kill 11. Sheriff Grady Judd, the sheriff in Polk County, Florida, said at the news conference on Tuesday, "We have not found 2 through 6, nor do we know if they exist at all," Judd said. In Florida, Mossberg faces charges including 2 counts of first-degree murder, 3 counts of attempted murder of a law enforcement officer, and 2 counts armed burglary with assault. He has also been charged with first-degree murder in Tennessee. Mossberg is due to make his first court appearance in Florida on Wednesday afternoon. It was not immediately clear if he was... Who cares? Let's see. On Monday night, authorities zeroed in on a home where they believed Mossberg was hiding. All night, SWAT teams tried to get Mossberg to surrender, but he allegedly fired at the deputies. Early Tuesday, deputies went into the garage and found Mossberg hiding and took him into custody. It was the Winter Haven crimes that led to the alleged killer's capture. A Winter Haven man called 911 on Monday about 6 p.m. and said someone had killed his 2 roommates and held him captive for more than 12 hours. That's scary. That's straight up right out of the movies, right? It's movie stuff. And that's the kind of stuff I hate the most in, scary movies or any movie. I don't like movies where people are contained, held against their will for long periods of time, abused, like stuff like Saw. I can't stand stuff like that. I just don't like it. Hey, that's just me. Hey, I'm KJ. Nice to meet you. The victim said when he got home from work Sunday night, his female roommate was tied up and alive, and his male roommate was already slain inside the home, according to the sheriff's office. The victim said he was tied up as the suspect, identified as Mossberg, stayed in the home all night, filling up bags with victims' items. During the night, Mossberg allegedly slashed and murdered the female victim and told the surviving victim that he did it quick because she was cooperative. Mossberg allegedly poured bleach on the victims and started cleaning the home. He at one point told the surviving victim that he wants to be a killer. He said, "I like killing people." It's like the 8th time. Okay, we get it. Afternoon on Monday, Mossberg left the home and allegedly told the surviving victim he'd be back for the bodies and warned the victim not to call police or he'd kill him. About 6 hours later, the victim ran to a neighbor's house and called 911. Earlier this month, Mossberg allegedly attacked and killed a man at a laundromat in Tennessee before fleeing to South Carolina. There you go. There he is. There he is, ladies. You start sending your love letters to the jail. I'm not sure which jail he's in. Polk County. You send your love letters to Polk County. Isn't that weird that that's a thing? That these killers in jail? And it works towards the women as well. I saw a whole series on that, like 6 different women that were in jail for violent crimes, and they have all these male fans, sending them letters all the time. So it's a thing. I guess some kind of a thing people have. They're into this. They're into this kind of thing. I guess it's the danger. I don't know. Certainly not that goatee. Here we go. Check this out. This is interesting.
Watch this. This is shocking video. It's a little tough for some to watch, but you're looking at dozens of birds scattered around the entrance of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. This is after, one by one, they flew into the side of the building. This is cell phone video. It is from a viewer, a little bit dark, but look, you can see, again, some people might find this kind of disturbing, but they're just gone.
They're just all over the ground there. We first showed you the video back at 4:30, and well, since then, we've got a whole lot of new information on this. So let's get to Gina Esposito live this morning from right where it happened. And Gina, you spoke with Carolina Waterfowl. What were they able to tell you about this?
Within the past 45 minutes, Carolina Waterfowl tells me they just finished treating dozens of birds. They say in total, 310 birds flew into these windows right here at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. CMPD Animal Control removed them overnight. They tell me that about a third of those birds died, a third of those birds were stunned, and they will be okay, and about a third are being treated for serious injuries. Now, we're going to play that video again, but I want to warn you, some may find it disturbing. Look. There's a bird crash into the window and then fall to the ground, joining dozens of others. Holly Cameron told us she was working in the area last night, and she shot this video around 9 p.m. You can hear her talking with security guard who claims it had been going on for about an hour. Within the past hour, Carolina Waterfowl posted this video of the birds at their facility. A third of the surviving birds are being treated for broken wings and fractures. I'm told these birds are called chimney swifts. I asked how this all happened. They tell me this type of bird colony lives in a roost. Carolina waterfowl believe something disturbed the colony last night, causing the birds to fly into the window at NASCAR Hall of Fame. I'm told they plan to investigate this more later today. Now, I also asked that rescue group about that bird's migration. They tell me that couldn't have been a factor because that type of bird only migrates during the day, not at night.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a lot of good information.
When I first saw this story, the first thing I thought about was 5G. And I wonder, now again, I don't know if that's connected here. I'm not saying it is, but these are the kind of stories I'm anticipating, and I don't want that to sound wrong. It's not like I'm hoping for something bad to happen, but I did a video on 5G about a year ago now, and it's always been an interesting subject ever since it kind of came out. I follow it as well. But even making that video, I started thinking, what will be the ramifications if this is as bad as many of us think it could be, or will get, or could get? We'll see, right? What could be the ramifications? And there's a lot. There's a lot. Have horrible effects on humans. I showed on one of the shows, maybe a month ago or so, a guy that's installing 5G put up a video, and he was talking to the audience and basically saying, I'm sorry, but I have a family to feed. And, I didn't, they basically contracted his firm or his group to go install some 5G. So I guess there's a lot of money there. I don't know. But he was even saying that he's sorry because now that he's doing it, he's starting to realize how dangerous this is. So beyond all the crazy effects it could have on humans, what about the animals? So are we going to see a lot of stuff like this? Are we going to start seeing, because for the last 5 or 6 years, we've been living in what I feel is almost a reflection of the Hosea prophecy. The idea where the animals are dying, because we've had some mass animal die-offs for years. I should do another, kind of a compilation on that, because it's still happening. I did a video on it years ago. Excuse me, but it's still happening. But we've been in that time period for quite a while. But will we see an increase when 5G hits? What will that be like? I wonder. I don't know. This was pretty wild. It's all a game. We're in the Matrix. Parents of Utah Tech CEO found dead inside her car in San Jose after 5 days search reveal their daughter's last phone call and say she suffered a manic episode. Aaron Valenti, and there it is, that 33, right? Aaron Valenti, 33, was discovered in the back seat of her rental car on a residential street in San Jose's quiet Almaden neighborhood on Saturday, 5 days after she was first reported missing. Valenti, the chief executive of Salt Lake City-based app developer Tinker Ventures, was last heard from on October 7th when she missed her flight from San Jose back home to Utah. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary until there's that 33 again. 3:30 p.m. on Monday, after she met with a former colleague on Sandy Hill Road, before calling her parents to say she couldn't find her rental car. There she is. And there's Cthulhu. Once she located the gray Nissan Murano, she stayed on the phone with her mother and father, where Valenti's conversation began veering from the strange to the downright bizarre. Excuse me. I'm trying to stay further away from the microphone. Last week, somebody left a comment that they don't like listening because I make weird mouth noises. So I was like, oh man. So I started getting self-conscious about it. It's like, I guess I should be careful to not have the mic like right up on that grill. You know what I mean? Like, let's have a little space here. Let's give it a little room. So I'm trying that. I'm hoping it sounds a lot smoother and you're not having to suffer through all of my weird mouth noises, but we'll see. So let me know in the comment sections, please. So her father, Joseph Valenti, says his daughter was talking a mile a minute and wasn't making any sense. Though the bereaved father insists his daughter has no history of mental illness, Joseph says he wasn't the only member of the family to receive a confusing and disjointed call in the hours leading up to her disappearance. Valenti also called her mother on and off for several hours across Monday afternoon and through the evening. Her thoughts were disconnected. She'd say, I'm coming home for Thanksgiving. Then in the next, she was saying she's in the Matrix. Valenti is said to have told her mother, it's all a game. It's a thought experiment. We're in the Matrix, the 33. So when I see these stories with the 33, that's why I always wonder if it's coded and who it's coded to. And I've shown in other work in the past that this is definitely something I believe that some of these people do, especially with the like British newspapers, anything connected to the UK, large Freemason influence there. Obviously, BBC is the 223, so it's 322 backwards to begin with. But anyway, I'm rambling on. Okay, Jay, you're right in the middle of an article. Shut up, man. Get back to the news. Shut up, man. Shut up. But it's interesting. I wonder sometimes, right? Maybe this is one of those coded stories because it is about a missing woman, and I'll continue. So the 33-year-old who would be turning 34 on Wednesday missed her flight later that evening and failed to show at a ceremony. And we didn't need that additional sentence of the 33 there. Again, stuff to me, it's like the 33-year-old who would be turning 34 on Wednesday. I mean, we don't even really need that. I don't know. It's just me. I'm being paranoid, probably, right? You're reaching. KJ, you're reaching. Shut up. Get back to the news. Where she was due to receive a Women in Tech Award. So she was actually supposed to receive a Women in Tech Award. Concerned for her well-being, Valenti's husband, Harrison Weinstein, a psychologist, attempted to track her location through a Find My Phone app, but was unsuccessful. There she is. During her final phone calls with loved ones on Monday, Valenti mentioned she was low on gas, and with a request from her family, a San Jose police officer contacted Valenti by phone the same night. But the police officer also said she wasn't making any sense on the phone, according to Weinstein. The officer drove around San Jose trying to find her, but found no trace of Valenti. Frustrated with the police department's efforts, Weinstein set up a Help Find Erin Valenti Facebook page, inspiring more than 1,500 Bay Area locals into searching for her. It was one of the volunteers who discovered Valenti's body in the back seat on the 6500 block of Bose Lane. So that's 11, but I don't know. Again, I don't know. We're just picking this apart a little. I don't know what the definition is, but who knows? A half mile from her last known location on Saturday. Many of you have seen that the search for Erin has been called off. While we were praying for a different outcome, we are so appreciative for the help and support you have given. A post of the Help Find Erin Valenti page read on Sunday morning, announcing the heartbreaking news. Members of Valenti's family are questioning how the police department handled their daughter's missing persons case. The beginning of it was a charade. Joseph Valenti told Mercury News of the police department's efforts to find his daughter. And I am totally frustrated and peed off with how that was conducted. Joseph Valenti continued that despite all the information he and other family members gave to police, including the make, model, and license plate of the car, descriptions of her strange behavior on the phone, and the data tracking the location of her last phone call, the department didn't file a missing persons report for Erin Valenti until Thursday. Adding insult to injury, they also described her as voluntarily missing, saying that she was an adult, theorizing that she had just spontaneously taken a few days off. Joseph believes the department didn't make searching for his daughter a priority. There she is. Similarly, Weinstein took to Facebook to refute the department's claims, writing, I would like to emphasize how out of character this would be for Erin. While she is adventurous, she is not foolhardy and would never intentionally be out of contact with her family. As a psychologist, I am especially concerned about her last calls, which were confusing and disjointed. Weinstein continued that it's completely impossible to have a sudden onset of symptoms like this for a variety of mental health and physical reasons. A spokesperson for the San Jose Police Department has not yet responded. Okay, whatever. Here we go. We're in the Matrix. She's about to get an award. She said we're in the Matrix. 33. And poof. I can't remember if we covered this one last week or not, but still, I think it's important. And I'll tell you, stories like this, they're also really important to me because I talk about a lot on the live shows about, we have to balance our lives with this stuff and having this kind of knowledge, and can't always focus on, exposing things or seeing things. It's just not healthy. So that's one of the reasons I started doing live shows a long time ago, because I would always see people feeling hopeless. They would watch my videos and they get hopeless. I didn't want that. I would see a lot of people get, man, I watch your videos. I love watching them, man. But dude, man, makes me really hate life sometimes. It's like, oh, thanks, I guess. I mean, I don't want you to feel that way. But I also realized that just the particular kind of things I do and have done for years with the videos, that it's also a hard wake-up call for people. I know what it feels like. I went through it too. When I went through it, I literally experienced the 5 stages of grief, or is it 7? I can't remember. I think it's 5, but I went through that really bad. It was completely changed my whole reality. I was still locked in the left-right paradigm real hardcore, and had been in Hollywood out there for a while, working in television for many years, had an agent. I was shopping scripts around, but, I was kind of getting some places here and there. It's not like I gave up for anything like that, but that's where I woke up, was out there. I've told this story in the past, and that's when I gave up my dream back then of wanting to be a, famous horror and science fiction writer and director. So, because I started realizing what the system was. So I made my first movie on my own. Didn't cost me anything. It's free for you to watch. It's called The Scariest Movie Ever Made. I made it almost 13 years ago. It's 12 something years ago, 12 years and some months ago. It's been a long time. It's been up and down online, many different places. And it's back up. It's on Vimeo. It's on my website. It's on YouTube in a couple of places. So you can still find it. But anyway, so I've been doing this whole thing now for, like I said, a long time, and making original content. This one thing, you may not like my videos, I don't know, but at least I keep it original. At least it's unique. You're going to find a unique perspective and something different. You try to keep it fresh, but I've been doing that for a long time. So with that comes some baggage. I've definitely gone through periods of time where I felt like the end of the world really is, it's any time now, man, and I don't like being in that frame of mind either. I really don't, because I've seen so many doomsdays come and go, being in this community for so long and seeing all the things I've seen. I've seen so many doomsdays come and go, and we can't live in fear, man. We cannot live in fear. We're not supposed to. Jesus even told us that many times. Right? Fear not. Right? Don't live in fear. So we're not supposed to be that way. We're conquerors, right? Remember that. But we are what we focus on. I look at this as a gift, and something I enjoy doing. It's something I like to do. I like making videos. I like picking these things apart and learning things, and then showing things, and then seeing you guys teach me things. I mean, I love it. I love the process of it, so. But I've got lost in it many times, and it would last for long periods of time, because I'm an INFP on top of it all. And if you believe in any kind of astrology outside of witches and darkness, but I'm a Pisces as well. So we're that topped on top of the INFP. I'm just a deep person, and I can spend a lot of time alone. So, I've had to balance that throughout the years too, and make sure I'm spending time, with people I care about, and getting out more, and not just focusing on this stuff. And then of course there's always the gym, and just doing regular everyday type things, but just getting caught up. Like I said, I don't want to say I struggle with it now, but I can still slide back into it pretty easy sometimes, and to get lost for like 2 or 3 weeks. I don't like answering phone calls or emails. I'll just get on some projects and I'll just kind of get in a frame of mind, and that's all I can focus on, you know? It's like I hate having to deal with real life stuff sometimes, to be honest, because I enjoy the art. I enjoy the creativity. I enjoy hopefully helping people, you know? But I don't want to be like these people, you know? And I hope you're not like these people. Dutch family found in cellar waiting for end of time. Dutch police found a family of 7 people hidden in the basement of a remote farmhouse where they had reportedly spent years waiting for the end of time. They discovered a man believed to be the father of the family and 6 of his children aged between 8 and 25 near the village of Ruinerwold in northern province of Drenthe. Excuse me. Police arrested a 58-year-old man at the scene, but he was not the father. I've never come across anything like this before, a local mayor said. Police investigated after receiving a tip-off from somebody who was concerned about the people's living conditions and discovered the adults. They lived an isolated lifestyle, he said, adding that they had been living on the homestead for the past 9 years, and several of the children had not been taken up in the birthing register. So many questions were unanswered, and police are investigating all scenarios, it says. The local news station, which first reported the story, said the family had been living in a basement for years waiting for the end of time. Some of those freed had no idea that other people existed. That's crazy. Can you imagine? A whole new world, man. Some of these kids coming out of that didn't even know that all of this existed. Whew. Police were alerted after a man of around 25, believed to be the family's oldest son, walked into a village bar on Sunday evening. The disheveled man, unwashed and wearing old clothes, said he has not been outside for the past 9 years. Bar owner Chris Westerbeek told RTV Drenthe. Can you imagine that? That's straight out of a movie too, isn't it? That's an opening scene. Some disheveled guy just walks into a village bar wearing unwashed old clothes, sits down at the bar and tells the bartender he hasn't been outside for the past 9 years. He said he'd never been to school and seemed very confused. He spoke in a childish way. The man told Westerbeek he ran away from home and urgently needed help. So we don't want to be the Dutch family found living in their cellar waiting for the end of time. I guess that's the message. So this one's really cool. I'll tell you why. Bit of a plug over here for one of my videos on the channel. Check out the channel. Scariest movie ever. But all kidding aside, I did a video, 5-6 years ago. I don't know how long ago it's been now, but it's one of my big ones. It's I think it might be up to 1 million views. Might be one of those. I'm not sure. But it's about these strange dark rings that have been appearing in the skies all around the world. Now, I've done actually 2 videos on this. I did a follow-up as well because there were so many cases of this happening. So if you want to look this up, it's, bizarre smoke rings or bizarre smoke portals seen all around the world. I can't remember what I titled it, but they're on the channel under the Paranormal. And when I first put that first one out, man, years ago, I remember just people ripping you. That's the stuff people really rip you on, is the paranormal stuff. But, hey, retard, it's a smoke ring. This is how they make it. And they show you, there's like this footage of a truck at a hippie music festival that has a cannon in the back, and it goes boom, and it shoots out a smoke ring that clearly it has a trajectory. So the smoke ring shoots up to the sky, slowly kind of forms, and then starts falling apart. And that's what you see. You can create a smoke ring, but these aren't those kind of smoke rings. These are something else. And I've done, like I said, some videos on this, connecting it to potentially portals, more examples of the beast system manifesting, if you will, and the dimensions shifting or colliding, and that's why we're seeing so many more weird things. For years, I've been saying it's getting stranger, and I think this is a good example of that. So they're back. Now, this one's in Dubai. Okay, a very wicked city itself. Beautiful though. I've never been there, but I've seen some pictures.
What the hell is that?
Keep watching.
What the fuck is that? Can you see it? Yeah, it's becoming a circle actually.
It looks like something is falling from there. It's like spraying.
Water, it's water. Or water or something, whatever it is. This is not normal.
No, it's not.
Is that a frame? Did it just disappear? No, it's there. It is vanishing. Share that video.
How about that, huh? Now, I think I'm going to have to make a video. I think I'm going to have to make a new video compilation because that was a good example. But again, if that's your first time seeing something like that, it's easy for people to say, hey, it was fireworks or, this or that or the other. I did the research. I've shown the footage. And it even made me start wondering, I wonder if it's connected to that. It's a black form type UFO. I don't want to say UFO because it's not a ship. But I've done a few videos on this thing as well. It's showing up all around the world, but it looks like one of those things from Harry Potter. I've talked about these things before. The spookers or the ghoulers, or I'm not a Harry Potter guy, but I remember those monsters. But they're just kind of like almost look like dark hooded figures that can fly around, and there's always a trace of kind of smoke coming off of them. Or maybe it's their cape But there's actually something out there, and I've shown a lot of examples of this, and that's another one that's like 7 or 8 examples I can think of, different places around the world, a lot of them from airplanes. People are filming it. But it looks like this long, big black mass of, I don't know, smoke from hell, Is it a demon? Is it the devil? But it looks like the same kind of material that's in all of these black smoke rings that are showing up all around the world. So I don't know, again, just off the top of my head, but I want to do a little bit of looking and some digging, and maybe that'll be a fun kind of music montage video to make and just kind of get caught up with this phenomenon here.
Gosh, what is that in this?
It's another UFO, perhaps a flying humanoid, because even these people can't describe it, but check it out.
Guy. That's weird. Oh, I can move it around. Jeez, what is that?
Oh, it looks like a saucer on your phone.
It's because it is. What are you talking about? What else could that be? It's because it is.
I don't know. It didn't look like a saucer to me, but he's a really good one too. Check this out.
With the zoom on it, it might come in better. Yeah. Oh, I see it now. Plain sight, peace, love, and light, my people. Check this out. Look at this crazy ass thing, acting like a bird. See it, my people? Check that out. It's not a bird. I'm out here with 2 witnesses, and we all see it's not a bird. You see the birds flying around it? The birds are circling it because they know it's not one of them. Look at the birds, bro. What the fuck is that, bro? Coming this way.
The old chemtrail.
Look at that fucking thing, bro.
Another chemtrail.
That's crazy. Look at that. Now it's changing. That's crazy as shit, though.
Here, we'll slow it down. But look, there's two massive chemtrails in the background, too. It's weird, huh? Look at that. What kind of animal could that be? Is it a baby sky serpent? I don't know. Is it a piece of paper? Maybe. It'd be cooler if it was a sky serpent. Anyway, those guys thought it was interesting. Here's another one. This one's really crazy. Before I show you, people down here in the comment section, Paris skydiving confirmed via Facebook. So these people are all saying that what you're looking at is this Paris skydiving event. And I went to their link, and this right here is the this is what they're saying people are looking at. So I want you to look at this first. It's the largest night formation in history. They did this 3 years ago. So just, look at how this moves and what it looks like, and get kind of a feel for it. Because this always annoys me, again, from people when it comes to interesting paranormal type videos. They'll always go for the most basic explanation like this, without even really thinking about any other possibilities. So, all right, there we go. You get an idea, right? Okay, now let's go look at the footage here. Remember, a lot of people think these are just skydivers. It's a sky show. Skydivers. It's a massive diamond in the middle.
That's a diamond in the middle. It formed into that. And there's a bunch of little ones all around it. I'm not sure that the camera is picking it up though.
Skydivers, right?
They're all moving. And that triangle in the middle is a bunch of small ones. Probably like 15 or 20 gathered together.
Drones? You think it's drones?
It's a whole bunch of drones. They're drones.
Hey, Chubbs.
Miss Tracy, there is something outside I want you to see. No, it's like weird. Oh, look, no. Look at. Oh, that's gotta be wrong. Yeah. It looks like drones. Yeah, I don't want to get like murdered or hunt down right now. Like, can y'all like go to a different city?
Are drones that coordinated?
Like, what are they? What are they? What are they helping over our house?
Now they're all separating.
There you go. So I was hopeful, I was hopeful in the beginning that it could be a really cool, weird scene, because we've seen so much footage of the actual orbs and some of them actually turning into diamonds and shape-shifting. But most likely, especially from the ending here, most likely that really is just the show. But it also makes me think of the great delusion, the fake alien invasion, if you will. This makes me think of Spider-Man as well. I don't know. Something's churning upstairs. I may have to connect all this somehow, but Spider-Man has some interesting ideas as well, using drones and holographic technology and things like this to create creatures and monsters. They'll set a charge somewhere and pop a bridge or something or a building right at the moment that this monster they've created, the hologram, is hitting it with his fists. It's all coordinated. Very interesting stuff. But they had a lot of weird drones, and it looks like this. It almost looks like, I know those aren't drones. So I think those are actually the skydivers, I guess. Or is it? I don't know how the people were floating around up there. That's the part I don't get. Or is it drones? I don't know, man. But yeah, I'm not thinking it was, I don't know. Do you think it was really anything paranormal? I don't know. I can't tell. Yeah, even right here, this guy says, I think you caught drones. I've seen some videos of this. He says, thank you. Either that or parachutes, maybe. It's strange how they all look like fireballs, though, in the second video. So I guess he's got a second video. So I don't know, man. It just goes to show you how deep these kind of deceptions can go and kind of what time it is. Again, we've seen a lot of legit video of the orbs, the entities, I believe, shape-shifting. They change colors. We've seen many of them manifest into diamonds. One even with an all-seeing eye in the center. That was in Pasadena. And there's another one in Peru. You can look those up. Diamond UFO, all-seeing eye. I'm pretty sure that it happened in both places. But check it out. Peru and Pasadena, you can see some interesting diamond UFO footage. So I don't know. I know I'm just rambling, just scooting around, just looking at stuff. Okay, this is perhaps another example. Let's see if, what do you think this could be?
Dude, what is that, bro? Are those drones? What is that thing in the middle then? They're too high to be drones. Dude, what is that? I'm not kidding, bro. I'm about to leave. I'm like gonna get my truck and start driving.
That's weird, buddy. Hold on a second. I can't tell if it's drones or what.
They're not parachuters because
They look big.
yeah, and dude, they're so high in the sky. The drones are tiny, but that's dude, we're all gonna die. Look at some of them are disappearing. Dude, they're fucking aliens, dude. Am I freaking out, dude. What is it? Am I tripping? What is that shit, dude? I'm not gonna kick your beer.
I'm not going to take your beer. But, you know, it's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good example. We've seen similar things in the past, but again, you're just showing some of this footage and looking at this. It's interesting how similar a lot of this stuff can be. You know, the real thing, and then mixed in with drones or whatever. You know, parachute people. I still don't fully get how that works. How they just floated up there for a long time, and then just I don't know. Was there something? I don't know. I don't know, guys. These got me scratching my head tonight. I think they're pretty good. Navy bans Satanists from holding satanic services at the U.S. Naval Academy after the group announced they were planning weekly meetings. Shared in an Instagram post by Drunk Old Grad, the email was sent to USNA midshipmen on October 8th and claimed to cater to people who prescribe to the Satanic Temple's satanic philosophy. However, all people of any faith background are welcome to attend, the email continued. The email offered to hold discussions of satanic philosophy along with the literary history of Satan. According to the email, the aim of the services would be to promote critical thinking and discussion on satanic values as they pertain to our lives. Again, who wants to focus on that? And while the email was sent out on Tuesday with the expectation of starting meetings on Thursday, a spokeswoman with the USNA asserted that it was shared prematurely. This email was sent without the review and approval of the Naval Academy's command chaplain, right? As required by command policy. It did not represent the U.S. Naval Academy's command religious program, they say. She added that the group had requested the space for a study group. The USNA command religious program provides for the exercise of diverse beliefs, Garris added. I don't want to read all this stuff. Anyway, we get it. More of that system right there manifesting. Right there says it all. It's what they're trying, right? But we're fighting. We're trying. Two stars that have begun to randomly dim prompt scientists to examine if aliens are responsible. The star system in question, HD 139139, 13939, 2618, 2618, 38, 39, 40, 44. I don't know. Anything? HD is 84. Anyway, the star system in question lies some 350 million light years from Earth in the Libra constellation. Been hearing Libra a lot lately, haven't you? That word, that term, Libra. Isn't there some company that was just launched, Libra? Scientists believe the system is home to a pair of stars that are bound to one another, given the joint nickname random transitor, which have been observed frequently dimming over the past several months. The Kepler Space Telescope recorded 28 instances of random dimming over an 87-day period, suggesting that something potentially interesting is happening. That's pretty crazy. It's the darkness coming in. I don't know. There can be many different causes for stars dimming, according to a SF Gate report, including debris floating in front of the star or one of the 28 planets that orbit random transitor passing by. Another possibility is that aliens have constructed some sort of technology. This kind of came from out of nowhere. Another possibility is that aliens have constructed some sort of technology that regularly interferes with the light emitted by the stars. I mean, sure, I guess it's a possibility. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities we could just kind of throw out there, you know. That option is perhaps the least likely, but it can't be definitely ruled out. Okay, thanks. So we can't totally rule out the existence of aliens. Got it. Well, again, that's most likely what this story is all about. More of that, like a soft disclosure, a conditioning and imprinting us with these ideas. Yeah, man, it's possible. Sure. Yeah, I believe in the aliens. Yeah, man. Sure. Paris Zoo unveils bizarre brainless blob capable of learning and eating oatmeal. The Paris Zoological Park is home to some 180 species, many of which would be considered standard zoo fare: zebras, giraffes, penguins, toucans, turtles, and the like. But this week, the Zoological Park will unveil a new exhibit featuring a bizarre creature that has surprised and puzzled scientists for decades. It's formerly known as Physarum polycephalum, but zoo staff have dubbed it the blob. I like that better. The blob is a yellow-hued slime mold, a group of organisms that are not, in spite of their name, fungi. Slime molds also aren't animals, nor are they plants. Experts have classified them as protists, a label applied to everything we don't really understand. Chris Reed, a scientist who has studied slime molds, told the Scientific American. Like other slime molds, the blob is a biological conundrum and a wonder. It's a single-celled organism with millions of nuclei that creeps along forest floors in search of bacteria, fungal spores, and other microbes. It can detect and digest these substances, but it doesn't have a mouth or stomach. The Paris Zoological Park grew its organism in petri dishes and fed it oatmeal, which it seemed to like, reports CNN's Julie Zaug. Zoo staff named the creature the Blob after a 1958 horror B-movie in which a gloopy alien life form descends upon a Pennsylvania town and devours everything in its path. Did you guys ever see the Blob, the version they made in the 80s? Or was it the early 90s? It's like really graphic. It was crazy. Some of the scariest kills ever. Like that Blob was absolutely terrifying in that movie. Here's just more of this. I would love to see Obama, man. Can you imagine seeing Obama have to go to prison, have to go to jail? That tripped me out. I mean, with all the weird, with all the weird Antichrist symbolism with this guy and all that. But again, he could be the big, the old onesie twosie. They put him out there and made it so obvious. It really seemed obvious. He obviously has an Antichrist spirit about him. But they put him out there, and he's such an obvious choice. But then maybe, the real one's coming. They make you look at the left and they hit you with the right. I don't know. Or maybe he is, and it'll all be revealed. I don't know. I keep an open mind both ways with this because I don't know everything. But I do know he's got a lot of creepy, weird, supernatural, paranormal things that have manifested around him. His whole history, being raised by his, his indoor helper his parents had that kind of raised him, was a trans person. And he had lots of dreams, Obama did, as a child of the Shadow Man. I mean, there's some interesting things there in some of his biography. But anyway, there's a lot of things with Obama. It's interesting. And it'd be even more interesting what if it actually went that far and that crazy? What if we could actually see Obama get caught up in all this stuff that's happening right now and have to do time? How crazy would that be? I mean, again, I don't know. They've been promising this kind of a thing for a long time, cleaning up the swamp, sending all these people to jail. But meanwhile, it seems like it's all Trump's people that have been really paying a lot of the prices in that respect. Going to jail and getting their homes raided. And he talked about this recently in one of his I don't want to call it a show, whatever it was, one of his speeches he was giving, but talking about how many good people started off in the White House all fresh and excited and just wanted to, do a good job for the country, and how their lives have just been destroyed. He just went right down the list and was naming people, how their lives have just been completely destroyed, So I know I guess it's politics. I don't know, But that's about it on that. I just want to throw that out there. CBS bans TV ad that depicts menstruating men. An underwear ad that depicts a world where men and boys menstruate, gross, is getting is getting either banned or censored by several TV networks. I wonder why. Thinks, a New York-based maker of feminine hygiene products, said the campaign slated to launch Wednesday on national TV is meant to take the taboo factor out of, the 30-second spot opens with a tortured-looking teenage boy telling his dad that he got his first period. It then cuts to a man rolling over in bed to reveal a bloodstain on his sheets. Jeepers. Moments later, another man walks through a locker room with a tampon string dangling out from his underwear. Okay. I need to take a drink here real quick. Gross. Thinks was forced to cut the bloodstain scene outright so the ad could run on national TV, according to a source. But CBS still rejected the spot because of its depiction of a tampon string. Yeah, thanks, CBS, for real. Noting the squeamish executives found it to be a bit too graphic. Yeah. After the Post story ran, a rep for CBS said the media giant is reviewing the ad and later said the company would be accepting an ad from the organization. Okay, that's about all I need to know. How about you? Menstruating men. Drag queen Sparkle Lee brings LGBT story time to Cincinnati church. Dan Davidson can usually be seen around Mount Auburn Presbyterian Church sweeping the floors and getting the building ready for worship services. On Sunday, June 16th, though, church caretaker Davidson woke up before the sun. Wait. No, this is an old story. Woke up before the sun to get ready for a new role at the church that morning. He spent hours applying layers and layers of makeup. And okay, this is one of the old stories about this stuff. So sorry, guys. I was just looking up some examples earlier for something I've been working on. The teenagers so addicted to cell phones, they're going to detox centers. Here we go. Can you hear that? There's a fire engine just went by a little bit ago. Guess not. Let's check this out.
It was 4 o'clock. In the morning when Yu Che-rin realized she'd been on her phone for 13 hours. This was when the 16-year-old decided she needed help. Yu went to a summer camp with a difference. This one is for smartphone addicts. One of 16 government-sponsored camps across South Korea, these girls spend 12 days with no access to their phones.
At first, I started using it simply because I was bored, but now I just use it for no reason.
These teenagers attend one-on-one, group, and family counseling sessions and take part in alternative activities that can replace the obsession with their smartphones. There are also programs to educate the parents.
On the first day of the camp, kids have agonized looks on their faces. They say things like, I want to go back home. I really hate it. Why am I here? But that's just for the first 2 days.
In 2018, 98% of adolescents in South Korea used a smartphone. Almost 30% of them are over-dependent on them, according to government figures.
These teenagers get obsessed with games and refuse to go to school, and cyberbullying and arguments with parents have become more serious.
Yu's father became increasingly worried about her and enforced a time limit of 2 hours a day on her phone.
I did not know what she was watching, whether she was watching YouTube or playing games. If I talked to her about it, there would be an argument.
There are increasing concerns about the medical impact of excessive smartphone usage. One psychiatrist says it can weaken the frontal lobe of the brain.
Major symptoms of the weakening of the frontal lobe are depression and anxiety, and it becomes harder to control impulses or anger. The ability to suppress or overcome difficulties becomes weak.
1 month after the camp ended, Yu says she believes it helped her.
It'll be a lie if I said I don't use my smartphone, but it's true that the duration and the number of times I use it have decreased. I even recommended the camp for my younger brother. He would really struggle without his phone.
Paula Hancock's CNN Sol.
There you go. I mean, it's in South Korea, but I think it's something that everyone can relate to. Hey. That was Chubbs. Did you guys hear him? Bureaucrats threaten fines and possible jail for ministry that gives glasses to homeless. Back in 2003, after he was told by many homeless people that they could not see well enough to get a job, Holland Kendall, a retired electrical engineer, decided to do something about it. Inspired by the scriptures where Jesus healed eyes and gave sight to the blind, Holland began Kendall Optometry Ministry, based in Kentucky, with the goal of lifting people out of homelessness and poverty by improving their vision. The ministry hosts free eye clinics for the poor and homeless around the world, where it distributes used and new glasses to those who need them. The glasses have been carefully measured for their corrective properties and cataloged, using sophisticated testing equipment to determine a person's prescription for each eye. The ministry matches that person as closely as possible to the eyeglasses available. But, there's always a but. But a Kentucky regulatory agency says that's not good enough, and that the ministry's good work of bringing sight to the visually challenged will have to comply with its regulations or stop its work. If it does not comply, the ministry faces fines and/or even jail time. According to the Rutherford Institute, the Kentucky Boards of Optometric, is that right? Optometric? I think that's right. Examiners and ophthalmic dispensers have warned the ministry that its charity work violates state licensing laws because the glasses are not precisely prescribed for those who receive them. Optometry board basically told us we must discontinue this used glasses clinic, even though the used glasses look like new. You can't tell the difference. They don't like that. The prescription is not exact, but the thing is, in all cases, it vastly improves the vision, Kendall told Fox News. I just don't think they're concerned about the homeless people as I am. The Rutherford Institute is defending the Kendall Optometry Ministry and says the agency is violating a state law protecting the ministry's religious liberty, as well as disregarding the positive impact it's having. Instead of commending this eyeglass ministry for its notable efforts to improve the lives of the homeless so they can get a job, get off the streets, and become productive citizens who are no longer dependent on taxpayers' subsidies, the government has opted to turn a blind eye to its beneficial impact on the community. All right. Thanks, government. Jury rules against dad trying to save his 7-year-old from gender transition. A jury in Dallas, Texas has ruled against Jeffrey Younger, the father who's trying to protect his 7-year-old son James from chemical castration via a gender transition. This means James' mother, Dr. Ann Gorgulis, we've heard about this before, will be able to continue transitioning him into Luna, that's right, the moon, and now has full authority to start him on puberty blockers and eventually cross-sex hormones. The mother goddess, right? Even Jezebel's spirit, perhaps, because I wonder what this lady's all about. Gorgulis. The jury's decision likely means that Mr. Younger will be required to affirm James as a girl, despite his religious and moral objections, and will also be forced to take a class on transgenderism. With a consensus of 11 of the 12 jurors, the jury decided not to grant Mr. Younger sole managing conservatorship over his 2 twin boys. They voted that the current joint managing conservatorship should be replaced by a sole managing conservatorship, but that Mr. Younger should not be that person. Judge Kim Cooks will read her ruling on possession, child support, and Dr. Gorgulis' other requests. Huh.
A Dallas jury ruled against a man attempting to save his 7-year-old son from being turned into a girl. Mr. Jeffrey Younger was denied sole managing conservatorship of his 2 twin boys, James and Jude Younger, by a jury this afternoon. We will await the complete ruling from the judge on Wednesday. She will fill out additional details, including possession schedules, child support, and will make a ruling on a request put in by the mother of the 2 boys, Dr. Ann Georgelis. Dr. Georgelis has been affirming James, one of the twin boys, as a girl since he was about 4.5 or 5 years old. She has enrolled James in school since kindergarten under the name Luna. James at school lines up in the girls' line, uses the girls' restroom, and is treated completely like a girl. We even saw during this case that James's medical records indicate that he is female. The big concern that Mr. Younger has for his boys is that medical records indicate Dr. Georgelis has been consulting and seeking advice on puberty blockers and a medical transition for James, a 7-year-old. The pediatrician's recommendations indicate that Dr. Georgelis and James should be referred to the Genesis Clinic, a transgender medical transition clinic here in Dallas, when James is between 8 and 9 years old. James will turn 8 next summer. We heard from a variety of expert witnesses who testified to the fact that this transition and James living as a transgender woman would definitely be a more difficult life than him desisting or returning to identifying with his biological sex. Even the witnesses for Dr. Georgelis agreed that the quote-unquote easier of the 2 decisions would be for James to return to identifying as a boy. Unfortunately, we did hear from some expert witnesses that stated socially affirming a child increases their probability of starting puberty blockers and eventually going on cross-sex hormones. However, in children that are treated with the wait-and-see approach, not explicitly denying them their feelings, but not socially affirming them in their supposed gender, 85% of those, by the time they reach adolescence, desist or return to identifying with their biological sex. We'll learn more on Wednesday about the judge's ruling. However, Mr. Younger's not optimistic in overhearing him speak with other people. He's not optimistic about how the judge will rule in this case. For LifeSite News, I'm Madeline.
Madness. It really is. Here's a video, strange sounds phenomenon. You know, that's another one of those interesting things been happening over the last few years. And again, you always see people, it's all debunked, they say, it never happened. But then there's a lot of cases that did. There was even a couple of them captured live during actual baseball games. And one was a baseball game, and I think another was a football game. But they've captured them live before, these odd noises coming out of the sky. But if you believe in that, maybe you don't. But yeah, they call it the trumpet phenomenon. But here's a new one out of Germany. Chemtrails in Germany. There you go. I don't know. Is it or isn't it? You decide. This is a really crazy story here, too. Actual witches hunt Trump with pre-Halloween binding spell. Witches across the United States are preparing to cast a coordinated binding spell on Trump on the 25th. So it's a couple days. And so this will be their third attempt. According to the Boston Globe, the so-called magic resistance first sought to bind the president in 2017. Since then, they've attempted to do the same to Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, as well as hex the NRA. Here's what it looks like. And I'm not going to play it, but they actually show the entire spell these witches do. I'm willing to go on record and say it's working, the spell's inventor Michael Hughes told the Washington Examiner. Knowing thousands of people are gathering together at the same time from all over the world to do this ritual and to put our beliefs and our desires into sharp focus and to do that ritualistically, I think that has a really powerful effect. And as the Daily Caller reports, the ingredients for the binding include an unflattering photo of Trump, a tarot card, a stub of an orange candle, a pin, and a feather. Last year, a group of real witches took umbrage with President Trump's repeated use of the term witch hunt to describe the Russian investigation. I guess that's one of the real witches right there. Oof. Here's one that I don't know anything about. This Twitter guy here, Shield. I don't know anything, or Patriot Vanguard, or whoever this is. I don't know anything about these people. This is just something I stumbled on, and I hadn't really heard much about it, but it has to do with Jack at Twitter, Jack Dorsey, disappearing. Have you guys heard anything about this? Anyway, here it says, Dorsey disappeared from his San Francisco mansion sometime last night. A journalist who described him as acting very irrational and disturbed. He was tweeting things like, President Trump is dead, when he then reported to the Secret Service. Says, we'll keep you updated. Well, let's see if there's any update. Back to the thread. Oh, that's mine. All right, never mind. All right, here's another one. Another creepy video from our friend The Hidden Underbelly. This is a good one too, I think. Check it out. Watch near the little kid's head and decide for yourself.
¿Qué estás haciendo? ¿Eh? ¿Qué estás haciendo? María José, te estoy hablando. La ciudad descubierta revela unas 2.000 casas de ladrillo de madera hacinadas en las calles de Toronto. ¡Ey! Albergado a una creciente... Tote.
That's not creepy at all, is it? Wow. I don't know. Shane Dawson reveals conspiracy eyeshadow palette colors with Jeffree Star. Anyway, they have some goofy symbolism in this. Here we go. Shane Dawson, he's a YouTuber, big YouTuber. Started making, quote, conspiracy style videos right around the time that little Susan started really putting the clamp down on that, on us, on anything fringe. You know, we're all still feeling it. But there's even a thing you can find where they had a meeting where she went and talked to Shane, and you know, they actually talked about this, about, you know, the conspiracy stuff. He's talking about how he's doing conspiracy videos, and you know, it's all good, you know, with little Susan and Shane, but not for the rest of us. Well, not for people who make things that matter. That's what I like to think. Anyway, so he can make conspiracy videos all day long and be trending, of course, be on the front page, millions and millions of views. Of course, his quote conspiracies really are, very surface, goofy type conspiracies. But that's what people, that passes for a conspiracy, I guess. But anyway, you see the symbolism here, just some of it, the obvious. And of course, you can say, but it's a conspiracy. They're going to do it on purpose. But it's like, well, yeah, but I also see it as that has been a symbol for the beast system outside of Shane, Dawson, and Jeffrey. It's been a symbol for that outside of them for a very long time. Remember that rock they uncovered in Ecuador? It was a pyramid with an all-seeing eye, and if you can actually look at it in a dark light, and elements light up, and it had Orion, I guess, on the bottom. A bunch of other crazy stuff. I've shown you guys that one before, but that's ancient. Just an example. Anyway, so to me, it's always kind of a spirit. It's the way I see it. It's a spirit working through these people. They are a part of that system. I mean, it's all about vanity too. Making makeup, makeup company. No offense to the ladies. I mean, I get a little makeup, comes in handy, and is a lot of the ladies like makeup, and that's all fine and stuff. But it is obviously connected to vanity, and everything in moderation. You know what I mean? I guess, I don't know. I don't wear makeup, so I can't tell you what to do. What I can do is I can show you some pretty interesting footage of potentially of shadow people. Let's take a look at some of these here.
Events caught on mobile phone 5th of October with the cat. Ready for bed. It's just a peaceful night here.
Oh yeah, here it is. This is pretty crazy. Look at that. It's right there. Just look right there in the doorway, and it looks like there's kind of a white dot kind of floating right there. Big white dot in the doorway right there. See where the dog's looking right at it. And just watch.
So what the fuck is that?
Oh, I forgot about that word. Sorry.
Dogs are ready for bed. That. What? Oh, God! Here I go to bed myself. What the fuck is... Here I go to bed myself.
I'm going to slow it down. Sorry about all the bad words, man. These people are really letting it go. All right, let's check this out. There it was. It's on super slow right now. It's right there. You're looking at it, whatever it is. And then there. Yikes. I don't know. What do you think? The dog saw it too. That's for sure. Didn't look like somebody in a mask. I don't know. It's kind of a close-up. Weird. Hard to make out what it is. I'm glad they did it like this, though. I'm glad they shot close. There we go. I don't know, man. It's hard to tell what it is. All right. Let's move on to the next. I thought there was a couple decent ones in here. Oh, there's the baby. I think that's it. United Kingdom police tell the public, report hateful behavior even if it isn't a crime. You don't even need evidence. Is this true? We have some friends out there in the UK, and they always comment on the news. I wonder if this is a thing. Let's see what's going on here. British police have marked Hate Crimes Awareness Week with a series of childish online cartoons urging the public to report hateful behavior even if it isn't a crime, offering assurances that you don't even need evidence. The cartoons featuring exclusively white racists targeting non-white people, women in hijabs, and so on were shared over the course of the week by Devon and Cornwall police, which was recently exposed as having had to sack a number of constables, special constables, and community support officers and support staff for sexual misconduct. Wow, that's a lot of people. Couldn't keep their Peters in their pants, I guess, my grandpa used to say. He actually never used to say that. The cartoons appeared to be aimed at people of limited intelligence, with one featuring a woman with a North American accent narrating an angry white man going into a green grocer and becoming enraged by an apple placed among fruit. This is John. John doesn't like apples, and seeing them sold with other fruits upsets him, she explains, as John first shouts at the fruit and then physically attacks it. Okay, great. This behavior seems ridiculous, but would it be any stranger? Well, let's see. Maybe we can just watch this. That'd be better. I don't want to read it all. You know? Okay, here we go. You ready for your programming? Here we go.
This is John. John doesn't like apples, and seeing them sold with the other fruits upsets him. This behavior seems ridiculous, but would he be any stranger like this? John hates the owner of this shop because he's black and has become verbally abusive. Incidents like these happen more often than you might think, and more often than not are never reported. The police need to know when and where these incidents happen so they can take proper measures to prevent them in the future. It's not just the victim's responsibility. Anyone can and should take the initiative. If you observe or experience any threatening or hateful behavior, even if it isn't a crime, you should contact the police. The police are there to help you and will do whatever they can to offer support or guidance. You can even report anonymously if you prefer. Hate may always be around, but only together can we keep it from making us feel unsafe.
Gross. Am I right? Are you ready to ask you? Are you ready for your programming? You're like, oh, you're just kidding around. No, I was being serious. Are you ready? That's major programming right there, isn't it? Even if it's not a crime. Hey, if he hurts your feelings, you give us a call. We'll take care of you. All right? Someone hurt your feelings, give us a call. It's not a crime. Hey, maybe we can talk to him a little bit. Maybe we take him in. Maybe we rough him up a little. I don't know. I'm just throwing that in there. Maybe we take his money. I don't know. We take his money away from him. I don't know. Looks like here's another one. Oh, cool. This one's longer. Are you ready for your programming again? All right, let's check some of this out. Ready?
Stop playing with those. You're gonna make the toys dirty like your skin.
Why did you say those mean words to your classmate?
My father says that we should not play with people like him because they are different.
May I look at your toys? Do you love your toys?
Of course I do.
Are they both friends?
Yeah, best friends.
But how are they both friends when they look so different from each other? Exactly. Your toys may look very different from each other, but that doesn't stop them from being best friends.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
I just noticed this right here in the background. Look at they have the pyramid with the sun symbolism right there between the two kids, and it actually has an as above, so below symbol as well with the smile, which is an upside down pyramid within. It's crazy. Look at this. This is how I see stuff. You may disagree. I've always been this way, but that's the spirit. This is the spirit working through this, working through the creatives, working through all the people who put this together. Some people may be aware of these things. Many times I don't think they are. I think it's spiritual in nature. It reveals a spirit at work through people, whether they realize it or not. It's manifesting an agenda. This is part of the beast system agenda, right? This is separating us again. All the white people are bad. We get this. But so, of course, it's part of that beast system agenda. And there it is right there, the pyramid with the sun and also the as above, so below right there in the center. They're spells.
I'm sorry.
But they don't work on us.
Do you want to be friends?
Embrace each other's differences.
Anyway, I think that's it. He really just deserves to win the lottery. Okay, here's a doom break. I know you guys all been waiting on a doom break. I think this is a good one. Let me see. Yeah, I can play it. And it's a minute and 11 seconds long. You gotta love it.
So now that people hear that.
He's been such a great influence in our lives. As you can tell, it's kind of beat up around the edges. We need him here at the school, obviously, because he's one of the most important parts of the school. He really just deserves to win the lottery. I mean, that'd be great, but the check will have to be.
Nice story, right? I always like to see people doing nice things for each other, especially those who really need it. Especially my family has a cleaning business, and my dad's had it for around 40 years, so it's been a long time. And all throughout the years, if he needed help, and if I was in the state, I'd help him out. So I kind of grew up in it. But even that, it's humbling work. I'm not saying that it's bad work, because I know a lot of people do it. We've had people who are going to law school and all kinds come in and go, throughout the years. But like I said, I've done it a lot as well. And, it can be, somewhat humbling, doing that kind of a job. And so I've always had a heart for the cleaners out there, the ones who are in the building after hours and, taking care of everything and cleaning stuff up. And I've always thought a lot about those people, and even just the janitors and the people in the schools, and like this fella right here in Jasper, Alabama, seemed like a nice, humble, good, salt of the earth type dude, just doing some good, humble work. And from out of nowhere, he's blessed with something amazing like this. I want to believe that's the story. I know some of y'all's wheels are probably turning, but secretly he was doing this. He was actually evil all along. Statue of Liberty is 300-foot drag queen, claims HBO documentary. Many on the left appear to have no problem disrespecting our nation's culture for their own progressive agenda and purposes. Indeed. Many people on the left are on it. I don't want to, we get it. Okay. It's going to be one of those things. Let's get down here. Now our children are being subjected to this strange sexualization, and we're inundated with transgender on TV, in movies, schools, and at church. If all of this sounds too harsh, the icing on the cake is that Lady Liberty is now a 300-foot tall drag queen. An HBO documentary called Liberty, Mother of Exiles focuses on the famed Statue of Liberty. However, instead of celebrating her history, you should watch some of my friend Jonathan Kleck's videos on the Lady Liberty, on the Statue of Liberty. However, instead of celebrating her history, HBO is rewriting it, claiming a historic statue is actually a man wearing a dress. The left appears to have no problem disrespecting our nation's culture for their own ends, it says. Anyway, Long referred to as Lady Liberty, the torch-wielding statue that once greeted immigrants as they made their way to New York City may hold an unexpected secret. She may have actually been based on a man. All right, we get it. I don't want to read any more of that. All the symbolism anyway. Lady Liberty. Lady Liberty. Twitter bans gay man for telling inconvenient truths about transgender people. Let me see if there's a video here or a tweet. I guess not. Mikey Harlow, outspoken gay writer and model, has been banned from Twitter permanently for dubious reasons. It all started when he posted these few tweets about inconvenient truths that Twitter must not want you to see. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people want to be treated the same as everyone else. Radical alphabet people want to be treated differently. That is a key distinction, and that is why sane LGBT individuals take such exemption to the latter category, he wrote. He continued poking the beast by announcing, good news, there is not an epidemic of trans people being murdered. 5 out of 100,000 Americans are the victims of homicide. 1.1 out of every 100,000 trans people are victims of homicide. About 20 to 25 trans people killed each year. 51 Americans are struck by lightning each year. These statistics fly in the face of the popular LGBTQ WTF claims that trans people are at higher risk of violence than anyone else. It's simply not true, but posting true things on Twitter won't stop you from being banned today when feelings trump facts. Maybe it was this next post that did him in. Everyone knows you're not allowed to challenge the new gender theology. He says, these are both me. Sometimes I like looking like an androgynous, emaciated albino space vampire. I mean, I can relate. Sometimes I like looking like a strung-out 90s computer hacker. Sometimes I feel more gay vampire. Sometimes I feel more skater boy. Guess what? That doesn't make me my own special gender. All right. But if I had to bet, I'd say that some overcaffeinated soy boy on the Twitter team took one look at this next one and needed smelling salts to revive him just in time to reach for the ban hammer. 0.3 to 0.6% of the population is transgender, the vast majority of whom just want to be seen as a man or a woman. Non-binaries cannot account for more than 0.1% at most. Yet we need to alter the English language and change how we speak to appease less than 0.1% of radicals? No. I mean, you got to love what this guy's saying, man. He's nailing it. He's nailing it. Facts simply can't exist in a world of feelings, so Twitter abruptly shut down Mikey Harlow's account with several conflicting reasons that are pretty comical. Harlow has received multiple excuses from Twitter, of course. Anyway, there you go. Court strikes down Obama rule forcing doctors to perform transgender surgery. On Tuesday, a district court judge struck down the Obama administration's since-defunct mandate forcing doctors to perform transgender surgery, regardless of their religious convictions or conscientious objections. The mandate, handed down by Obama's Department of Health and Human Services, ironically did not apply to Medicare and Medicaid or to military doctors because the government's own research showed that transgender hormones and surgeries can be harmful. All right. Cool. Whoa, that scared me for a second. Not the boat. Male Navy personnel permitted to wear fake eyelashes and makeup according to new gender-neutral guidelines. Whoa. Male personnel in the Royal New Zealand Navy will soon be allowed to wear makeup, false eyelashes, and nail polish according to new gender-neutral guidelines. Why do this? Why do you people do this? The updates that will come into effect next month, well, we know why. We know it's manifesting. Baphomet system, beast. Rainbows and unicorns. The updates that will come into effect next month are intended to demonstrate that the RNZN make no distinction between male and female members in terms of appearance. Chief of Navy Rear Admiral David Proctor told NewsHub the NZDF can confirm that as of November 1st, 2019, guidelines around grooming and appearance for Royal New Zealand Navy personnel will be updated. Excuse me. These updates are to reflect that the RNZN make no distinction between male and female members in terms of their personal grooming and appearance. The changes will allow male Navy personnel to wear fake eyelashes, discreet makeup, and clear or pale nail varnish when in uniform. Long hair will also be permitted. Wow. Provided it's worn in a bun or single plate. Proctor went on to claim the success of the RNZN depends on such diverse and, you know the word, inclusive changes. These changes reflect the blah, blah, blah. Whoa, it scared me again for a second. Check this out. Wait.
Addams Family. Growing up, we watched Addams Family, and it was like what? It was like, you know, like costume type comedy, right? Well, let me tell you something. The Addams Family right here. You say it's religious or say whatever, but it's inappropriate. They had the first thing that startled me in the movies was they had the voice of a demon, like growling, right? I was like, okay. Second, the little boy in the cartoon started crawling up the wall, possessed with his
eyes were possessed and everything, crawling up the wall like a demon.
Let me tell you, strike three though. Strike three is when they put out the Ouija board. When they put out the Ouija board, me and Monica looked at each other and said, "Nah, we can't watch this. That's demonic." God bless them. But the enemy knows what he does when he sneaks stuff into the movies, especially as a form of cartoon. And as for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. And I know the kids are probably kind of a little mad. They probably don't understand. I'm gonna ask them. But it's our job to protect them from this stuff, right? Hey, do y'all know why we left the movies?
You hear that?
Huh? Do you wanna know why we left the movies? Huh? Y'all understand why we left the movies though?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it had bad stuff, and that was demonic.
You know, we don't, and you understand,
Well, you gotta be careful because things like that can attach to you, and you can bring it home with you. I don't care if it's cartoon or not.
Yes.
The devil's clever.
And
he knows how to get you. He'll use cartoons. That's how he gets you these days.
And we don't want to bring none of that home, right? So let's pray cleansing. Look, Father God, remove anything that's not of you in the mighty name of Jesus. And we do want to guard our eyes and our ears, and if the things that are not of you, we believe in humor and having fun. But if it's going to be anything that offends you, we don't want it. So we thank you for.
Look at that symbol while he's praying. Look at the symbol for the theater there, for the mall entrance. And that's the you got the pyramid and the sun. You see the blue pyramid on the bottom, and then you've got the sun on top with the star. And the red pyramid pointed down. So you got the as above, so below on either end of the star with the light symbol or the sun symbol for the pyramid there as well. It's all around us, right? It's that system.
Saving us, and we thank you for your cleansing, your protection, and we pray for everyone and every family that goes in there, Father God, that's not aware of what goes on, that you protect them as well. In the mighty name of Jesus, amen? Amen.
Some people may be.
There you go.
Oh, I don't even care. Yeah, I don't care if they think it's too much.
There you go. I think any one of you out there would do the same with something like that. Animation is certainly some of the worst. I mean, I remember when they first started using that, it's definitely a tool. When a lot of animation started crossing over into the adult world and on mainstream, TV at night and on weekends, and more grown-ups were watching it. Fox News, or not Fox News, but Fox had a lot to do with that with The Simpsons. That was a big crossover. But you can get away with a lot more with animation. And since our generation, our generations, some of us have been raised on cartoons only as children. I remember being little, and this is before having the internet, but every Saturday morning there would be amazing cartoons. I mean, you lived for Saturday morning. There was all the great shows, man, throughout the years, and just a lot of good stuff. So Saturday morning is what you looked forward to as a kid. Those are your cartoons. You guys remember that? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Looking back, knowing what we know now, I see a lot of programming and all that stuff now too. Not all of it, but some of it. But yeah, they can get away with a lot more. We're conditioned to think that they're innocent and they're safe and they're okay for kids, and what could go wrong? But then you watch Family Guy, or something like this, and it gets pretty crazy. South Park, I like South Park, but South Park too, they really pushed the limits, some of this stuff. But that's different. This is like a family animated show, The Addams Family, obviously targeted for kids. And this guy has the eyes to see, and his family does. What kind of programming they were sliding in there for the little ones, right? Far left group threatens violence against church screening, the rise of Jordan Peterson. Do you guys know much about him? He's really interesting to listen to. I like checking out a lot of his stuff. He's going through a hard time right now, though, because his wife has cancer, and he just did an interview where he was crying a little bit about it, so so he's going through some personal stuff, I believe, now. And now you got this. This is from yesterday. Far left group threatens violence against church screening, the rise of Jordan Peterson. Earlier this year, an anonymous threat forced a DC theater to cancel a production of FBI Lovebirds Under Covers. The play, produced by Phelim McAleer, featured a reading of text from disgraced FBI agents Lisa Page and Peter Stork. The two are enmeshed in the Russia collusion hoax that kept the country hostage for north of 2 years. An element of the left, fearful the play's message would get out to the masses, threatened violence against the theater in question. Starring Dean Cain and Christy Swanson. Crazy. The theater's management opted to cancel its contract to host the play. Team McAleer was able to find another venue, but it still sent a chill through the theatrical community, even though many venues refused to discuss the matter. Now, a fair documentary about a member of the intellectual dark web is under a similar attack. The Rise of Jordan Peterson examines how the lanky professor became an intellectual superstar. Peterson has his enemies, no doubt. He refuses to think it's the government's job to force people to use preferred pronouns, drawing the ire of the LG. I like what that last guy said, the LGBTWTF or whatever community. Rise doesn't glorify its subject. Sure, it's okay. I don't want to get into all that, but I think we get it. We understand what's going on here. Here's another one of these. Oh, yeah, we already covered that subject. That's just a different source. Angry gender studies professor blames Trump for black women being obese. I think there's a video on this. Yeah, here we go.
Like, I hate when people talk
This should be interesting.
about black women being obese. I hate it because it becomes a way to blame us for a set of conditions that we didn't create. We are living in the Trump era. And look, those policies kill our people. You can't get access to good health care, good insurance. The research says that black women, when we do the same diets as white women, we lose less weight and we lose it slower. And what public health practitioners think is that our stress responses in the body change our metabolism. It's literally that the racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
I'm with you. But I think it's also really important for us to know that we have the power to choose how we see ourselves.
Sure.
We will be fortified to fight all of these other external issues when we pour into ourselves enough to say, I love me, I am not the conditions that surround me, I am not my experience, I am more than the
Wow, I just kind of got lost there in it for a second with what that lady was saying. I mean, it made no sense to me, but I just kind of started stumbling along. It's like, I mean, it sounds good, you know? I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. I thought these were really interesting. This is from a Twitter page called Press Escape to Go Back, or Press ESC to Go Back. And check out some of these montages they come up with. I did a video, it's on the website somewhere, my website, is comparing the police from back in the 50s to the police now. And I did that video probably, I don't know, back in 2014, but it's a musical kind of video. But now we've come so much further, you know, now we got even more degeneracy to compare it to. But look at that. Destroy progress. I'll read that for you. You probably can't read it. But like apparently this is real and you know, wow. It says, welcome to the Pussy Palace. Rules: number 1, get effed. Number 2, thou shalt not. Well, you know, that one's going to be a tough one to say. Anyway, they just keep getting worse. Let's see. Number 5, swallow the kids. BITCH. Yeah, you know, I don't need to read this whole thing to you. The point is, it's pretty shallow, pretty gross. You know, degeneracy. On the left side, you got that from the 50s, though. It's such a contrast, obviously. So there's that. I think there's another one. Yeah, that's seems about right. Oof, man, Miley is just so foul. Yeah, destroy progress. It's got the furries in there. All right, what else I got down here? Hole in the ozone is now smallest. It has been on record since it was discovered in 1982. NASA confirms. Just thought I'd throw that one out there. I know a lot of people don't even believe anything from NASA, you know, no matter what, but the hole in the ozone layer has shrunk to its smallest size since scientists began monitoring it in 1982 because of an unusual weather pattern in the upper atmosphere over Antarctica. Anyway, all this talk about the heating up. It's the end of the world. Ozone layer is out of control. Just hype. It's a lot of hype. Are scary movies cursed? I was looking that up for a video, so you'll hear about that one later. University dumps professor who revealed polar bears actually thriving, refuted major claim of global warming activists. The Canadian zoologist who led the way in debunking the claim that climate change is endangering polar bears says the University of Victoria bowed to outside pressure and fired her. Susan Crockford, an adjunct assistant professor at the University of Victoria in Canada for 15 years, said her renewal application was rejected without explanation in May, despite her high profile as a speaker and author due to her polar bear research and expertise in mammal bone identification. Her research showed polar bear populations are stable and even thriving, contrary to claims of climate activists that their numbers are plummeting due to shrinking Arctic sea ice. Crockford, who earned a PhD in biology and anthropology in 2004, described her expulsion as an academic hanging without a trial conducted behind closed doors. And now, for this. This is that Wowzer video I was telling you about. You may have missed the beginning of the show. But, yeah, thank you very much to those of you who sent this to me. Again, a few of you sent me this, different sources as well. But it's just absolutely insane. So, anyway, prepare yourself, folks. The video is going to basically do the explaining. This took place in... I think South Africa. So I'm looking for right here. All right, check this out. This is a father at a school, and he'll explain.
I'm here at Grantley School, just outside Richards Bay. I've been in the school, my kids been in the school for many years. I love these teachers. They've been awesome to my children. They've been caring for them. When they made mistakes, they picked them up. But today is my child's last school day. And I'm so upset. I'm not emotional, I'm upset. I walked into the school, into the school hall, and there's some artwork being displayed from the matrics. I would like to show you, and it broke my heart. While they were busy having this ceremony of prize giving, awarding people which achieved great things, I couldn't stand in here because it felt like we were crucifying Jesus all over again. Can I show you? Just follow me. As you will enter into this display, you will see all kinds of funny things done from Satan displays, as you can see here. And this is all allowed. If you look down here, a clown being showed as Jesus, as someone is praying for Jesus as a clown. As you can see, all these work is everything is the things which has been showed of the devil. As you can see here as well, there's a clown here, and surely this is the disciples, the table of the disciples showed as a clown. And as you can see, all these pictures, alles is demoniese magte en demoniese goed wat gedisplay word. En die ergste van alles, ons skool se lese was nog altyd to God be the glory. Now if this is to God be the glory, I don't know what is to God to be the glory. As you can see here, this is a Bible being torn apart. This is a Bible being torn apart by making all these kind of things. Al hierdie demoniese beelde wat uitgestal word, wat geplak is met die Bybel, wat so uitgestal is. Weer eens hier kan jy sien van 'n clown. My God is no clown. My God is God Almighty, and I love Him. We need to stand up strong against these things. I want you to share this video to many people and show them what our schools are standing for. Grantley School, which I've loved so much. It's a disgrace. It broke my heart to see that you allowed this in the school. And I want to encourage parents to come to the school, not to come to the school. To allow things like this. To allow things like this. As you can see, skulls with the word of God being torn to pieces, made into all kinds of shapes and pills. As you can see, into pills. Absolutely a disgrace. Please just understand one thing. I love the school. I love the teachers. I love them. They cared for my kids for a long, long time. I honor you, teachers. But I do not honor what you allowed in the school. if things will go wrong from here onwards, it's because of what you allowed to be part of the school. If you say that our school theme and our school ethos is to God be the glory, we should not allow these things in the school, because that brings demonic powers into this place, and we will not understand what goes on. We should stand up. South Africa, we need to stand up against this. We cannot allow this. We need to stand up, rise up, and let us come and protest against the school. Let us protest against all these things. You know, if they take the Quran and they do this to the Quran, there will be war. But we as children of God want always to turn away and say, it's not for me. Oh, it's fine. I'll just walk away. Someone else will say something. You know what? No one has done anything to it. It's been standing here ever since. You know, as this awards was going on, this person which did this artwork received many awards for the greatness of what he has done. It felt to me like I'm standing where Jesus being crucified. I'm part of the crowd, and Jesus being crucified, and the person who is crucifying Jesus being cheered up. This is exactly what happened with this person, finding these things, finding gifts and finding presents and finding trophies, while we're standing and crucifying Jesus. Telling you, never will it happen, and never it should happen, to allow things like this in a school. What does this teach our children about the greatness of God? What does this teach our children to fear God? What does it mean to our children to allow this, children walking past this place and see this and allowing this? May God bless us. May God bless the school, because this children belongs to the kingdom of God, which is in the school. May God protect them. Amen.
Wow, right? I mean, wow. So you can find this in a few different places online. I'm not sure what you'll look it up or how you'll look it up. This is Top KZN Private School and Satanic Drawings Outcry, but this is a source, it looks like, from out there, from South Africa. So there you go, man. That is some pretty crazy stuff. I will most likely be putting this, adding elements of this in a video. I couldn't believe some of this stuff. And I did a little following up and found out a few more things about this guy, and really blew me away, man. So, you know, I love seeing his righteous anger. You know, it's about time. He's right. You know, so many times Christians or, you know, followers of Christ, some elements of these groups, of our groups, can be that way. You know, no, don't look at that. No. Just think about Jesus and happiness and heaven. It's going to be wonderful. You know, they don't want to think about anything else outside of that. They don't want to see anything. You know, they don't want to. But on the same token, a lot of times they don't want to speak up or stand up. You know. But I'm loving seeing this guy's righteous anger. He should have that. Children do need to be protected from that kind of garbage. But as he said, I mean, they're giving this guy awards, or gal, I don't know who did it, but they're giving the artist awards at this school, celebrating it. So it's interesting. Well, that concludes my stories for tonight. So I'm going to jump on over here, and I'm going to set a little background for us for a second. There we go. And I'll just say, once again, man, thank you guys so much for being here. As always, I appreciate you. Big shout out to my Patreon and PayPal supporters out there. Also, you guys know I have a sponsorship, and so I'll be, you know, there'll be a few different things I'll be sponsoring, or that'll be sponsoring my videos, and different companies, mainly VPN, you know, private network stuff, and you know, investment things, just stuff like that. It's going to be pretty simple, you know, but I'll have some of those ads out there as well. And so, you know, check it out. If you see anything that interests you with the sponsors, don't be afraid to check it out sometime. And other than that, yeah, you know, I like to close out my shows typically with a prayer. And so if you don't mind, guys, I'm going to go ahead and just say right now, Heavenly Father, thank you. I always start off by thanking you, Lord, for the fact that we still have a platform here. And it's just great that we can still meet up, you know, and talk and have a bit of a community here. And it's also a place I can keep putting my work out there. So thank you so much for protecting it this long. And thanks again for the audience. Thanks for the people out there, Lord. Thanks for all of us. They help me so much whenever I'm trying to pick things apart and understand, and we all work together, and it just feels good. So thanks, Lord, for this kind of again, group of people, or extended community, if you will. Thank you, Lord. And I also pray that you just, keep us all at peace. There's a lot of madness out there in the world, and help us all to not always just focus on that, the dealings of the devil and what he's doing and all the details, but to find time to spend more time with you, of course, and just stay, in a good state of mind. So that's it, Lord. I love you. And in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So that's it, guys. Hey, as always, thank you once again for checking out the show. I've got a new video coming up maybe tomorrow, if not at the latest the next day. I'm almost done, but it's going to be a bit of a compilation. There's some things in there from Eli on Netflix. Some people have been asking me to cover that. That's in there. Also, Learning to Live with Yourself. I've got a couple things in there from that show. It's going to be a mishmash or a mishmash. I don't know what the word is, but one of those kind of videos where I've just got a lot of different thoughts I'm putting together from a lot of different things. So thanks as always for checking out the videos as well. And again, big shout out Patreon, PayPal supporters. God bless you guys, man. You take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you a little later. Oh, I've also have a show coming up with Jeff C. this Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll be posting that later. All right, guys, take it easy. Thanks.